Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public
And
Opinion.
you're charged
I am
with
Barry Tucker,
$10,000.
and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy
They
there.
got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
Alrighty, I'm back. And by back, I mean the internet seems to be fixed. I say seems to be fixed because I thought it was fixed previously. But now it really is supposed to be fixed. Which is a good thing, because O-Town Chill says, hope the internet is fixed. You better, for your sake, hope the internet is fixed, because guess what, O-Town Chill? You now own it. If it's broken, it's yours to fix. Congratulations. Thanks for being first in chat. The internet is yours. Please keep it up and running. It's a rough day. I appreciate you stepping in, saying, yes, I can do this. We all owe you a big one. But pay us back first. So thank you very much. Born a Hawkeye, I just noticed this was up. Just barely popped up. Yep. Who was it that said this? Rachel. I think, Rachel, you might have been the one who reached out to me before and said, hey, you spelled it wrong. In all my thumbnails for this trial, basically, for the last several days, I've spelled Jackson wrong. And every single time somebody mentions, like, yeah, I'll fix that on the next break. And I never did. But I fixed it now. It's fixed. Thank you for, it's not Jackson, it's Jackson. And we're back. Thank you, Weather Watch, for holding the fort down and smoothing out everything there. It's a lot has happened. A lot has happened here during the break here. Just 1 second here. Audio 2. There we go. Okay, a lot has happened. Particularly, I wanted to give you an update on California because I spoke with my peeps and I'm not happy. But I wanted to tell you what happened. I'm waiting for this email. So he said he would be sending me. California made a ruling on my request, and they ruled that because there's a pending investigation, they've determined that they're not going to release anything from any of the incidents related to this case.
Good morning from California.
So, what was that? I said California, and somebody said Shannon. We're talking about. Thank you. Good morning to you as well. It's afternoon here, but it's still morning there. We're talking about the case with the dog bite, basically, with the
Dog chewing on this guy.
Yeah.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
This part. I've got a request in, or had a request into the California Highway Patrol. They're supposed to respond within 10 days. I asked for basically everything: body camera footage, dash cam footage, airship video, radio, dispatch to car to dispatch, car to helicopter, helicopter to car. Use of force reports, arrest reports, everything for this incident. And they have 10 days to respond. On the 10th day, they said, we need 14 more days. Under law, we're allowed to have 14 more days. And so they took 14 more days, and then they didn't respond. And so I reached out to them and said, hey, Justin, chase this down for me. And he's like, yeah, oops, sorry, I was supposed to tell you. They made a determination that because there's a pending investigation, we're not going to release anything, nothing at all. And this is them basically saying, and we're done. So my request is now cleared in their books. It's checked off. They're finished. However long their investigation takes, as soon as it's done, they will not notify me. There will not be anything. I just have to ask again and again and again until I get this. I did find out that the investigation on the canine part, which they, by his own admission, he said it, says it appears that the canine incident involved an individual who was not part of the event. Okay, that's how he put it. Yeah. So he says that part is being handled by the Southern Division of California Highway Patrol. They're doing the investigation into just that dog bite incident, the canine incident. The other part, the larger part of the whole pursuit, the chase, everything.
To help fund your internet, so we the people can stop being lost without you during the day.
Frack, thank you very much. I think we're good. I have a new box that seems to be working so much better than the old one. But I appreciate the super chat and the thoughts. We will hopefully be fine for the foreseeable future. Because also during the break, I called Metronet, who was running fiber in my city, and I said, "Look, I'll spare you all the bad words that I want to say about my current provider. Just tell me, when will your service be available here?" And they said, a couple months. I'm like, "Look, I'm on the edge here. Help me, save me. What do I have to do? Do I have to round up all my neighbors and have them sign up for the fiber service? Would that speed it up at all?" And they said it might. So I'm going to have to do that. I did that in my last neighborhood as well. I wanted fiber in my neighborhood and it wasn't available. And so I went out and I knocked on doors. I put a sign in my yard that advertised that I had. I actually borrowed the sign from another city where it was available. And so everyone drove by and like, "He's got fiber." And they all came to talk to me. I said, "Oh, here's what you do is sign up and tell them you want it." And basically, because we had this huge groundswell of people that all wanted fiber internet, they said, "Okay, we'll do you next." And they did. And it was awesome. So that's what I'm going to try to do here and get it sooner. But they said spring. Hopefully spring comes early. But anyway, so that's where we are on the internet. It's working now. I've got almost a full gigabyte download, and I'm getting 37 upload, which is enough for the upload, which is good. On the California case, I'm going to reach out to the Southern Division of the Highway Patrol and try to just get more information about when the investigation is going to be over on their front. I also have to talk to the Central LA District now about the actual pursuit and get the video from the helicopter and things like that. So I've got like different places to go now. But the good news is cost-wise, it's not nearly what I thought it would be. It's only going to be $5 per disc and 10 cents per page. And that's like, yay! That's our pickle jar currently has that. We can pay for that. That is fantastic. And he said, and by the way, if you tell them you don't have a CD player and you need it digitally, which I don't, my computer does not have a CD player, they'll just do a Dropbox for you and they'll waive those fees. So I'm like, yes. Okay, but that being said, it's good news for when we finally get that information. The bad news is, he says, if they have to redact any of the radio traffic, it takes 120 days to redact it. So I'm hoping they don't have to redact anything. But basically, if anything happened in the radio traffic that we're requesting that would pertain to someone that wasn't involved in the incident, which it shouldn't, they usually lock down the station for a major incident like that. Anyway. So that's what we're facing. That's with California Highway Patrol. Florida, that's on the other side. Florida has zero information for me, is zero help, and has no idea, other than that they know that my request is in there and have verified that they have it in there. They told me what the number is. They have it listed as. They can't tell me how many people are ahead of me. They can't tell me how long it's going to take. They have no idea what it's going to cost, and no idea when they're going to get to it. So that's Florida. I'm going to skip roll call. We had a long roll call this morning. I do know we've got some amazing people in chat now. And thank you so much for being here after a very rough morning. We've got down in South Carolina, we have the Murdoch case moving forward. There's audio available if you want to listen to like the audio of jury selection, because they obviously don't want to show the people and things like that. So there's audio of that available, and it's fun to follow along and hear, who's getting excused for what. At one point, there was a question that was asked to the potential jurors, but basically saying, how many of you guys know about this case, or have read about it or seen it on the news? And every single potential juror in the room stood up. It's like, that's what they're dealing with. Now, they've got 700 potential jurors that have already been, summoned to see if they can find a nonpartisan, a non-biased jury. You can't find nonpartisan anything, but a non-biased jury that can sit and fairly hear this trial. So they've got their work cut out for them. I don't think they're going to get it done right away. We'll see. We'll follow that because we want to see where that's at. Also, in the trial, we had to leave because my stream was dropping so badly. We had a couple things. We've got a couple more witnesses the defense put on. Most notably, the last defense they had was it sounded like he was from the public defender's office, but he had a little bit of law enforcement, like part-time law enforcement experience. But anyway, he was an supposedly expert in analyzing this Cellbrite type download, where they take like they infiltrate the phone and steal the data and then look at it and see what's happened, right? It's like looking at the forensic files of a cell phone. And he basically, his whole testimony was that, yeah, the dad had the Ring app installed. The mom, I think, had the Ring app installed. Neither one of them used it, in forever. But the son had never had it, according to what he saw. There's no indicator that he ever had the app installed on his phone. That's important because the police alleged that he changed the settings on the Ring cameras, which now the phone appears to not have that. Okay, so that sort of pokes a hole in one of the things they say that he did. And that's interesting. And then we're expecting, as soon as we come back from lunch, we're expecting the defense to rest. They're done. No more witnesses. The state has a rebuttal witness. I don't know if it's about the cell phones, or I don't know if it's about the dog tracking, the dog incident. We're not sure where that's going to be, but we expect one more witness from the state. And then I think the judge said, if I remember correctly, that they're going to do maybe dismiss the jury for the rest of the day. Yeah, let's see. Jury instructions after the rebuttal witness and dismissing the jury. I don't know if they're going to do jury instructions today or tomorrow, but closing arguments are going to be tomorrow. So yeah, one or two more witnesses. Thank you, guys. I should probably just read the chat and it would tell me. Sharon, glad to be back. It's good to be here. Let's see. I hope it's fixed. There's no place like RA's home. I love it. I tell you, I've been busy. I've been working during the break, frustrated, but working, trying to get all these things squared away. So I don't feel like we lost any time, and I just missed out on an amazing morning. The flare gun and the foghorn seems to be working. RA got 15 back. Awesome. Yeah, I'm back. The alerts went out apparently to Mac. Greetings, 6-volt. As long as the interwebs is fixed for closing arguments for the defense, we need the background music. Okay, I will do background music for them, but I expect they're going to take about an hour to an hour and a half each on the closing arguments. This is their last shot. You'll hear a little bit from you'll hear like half from the prosecution. The defense gives their full spiel, and then the prosecution gets one more shot at it because they get the final word always. They have the burden of proof, so they have just a little bit of a advantage there. I thought I heard Friday was closing arguments. Oh man, that would be bad because we will be in Murdoch's trial on Friday if they can seat a jury. We'll see. O-Town Chill, did you change your name? Did you change your name? I'm trying to figure out if this is a new name. I don't recall. Judge originally thought Friday, but they're going to be there today. Okay. A little bit. I am so glad things are working. I didn't kidnap the repairman, but I did stand in the doorway. And I'm not a skinny guy, and I stood in the doorway and just made sure he knew that his job was right there and he shouldn't leave until it's done. And so he got it up and working, and it's good. Went to the news channel. Some of you felt dirty. You had to shower after you went on Law and Crime, apparently. Let's see. Did anyone watch the trial this morning when the defense wanted to show 85 photos of Alex's family, even the one as a baby newborn? A little bit. I was listening to this. The judge is like, this is too much. And the state is like, this is too much. What is the relevance to the fact that somebody took a picture when he was born? Seriously. Day 1, 0 days old. Alex Jensen does not seem very relevant. They said this is just trying to, make the jury go, oh, we can't convict him. He was a cute baby, and that seriously is stretching it. We've already got all the Boy Scouts saying he was awesome on the campouts. He carried the water for us. Yay. That means he can't kill anyone, right? Not a drama llama. We are back. We are back for sure. Christy, how is your other shows you're watching? What are you following? I think everybody's in lunch break right now, right? Who's let's see, I'm seeing, I think even Alex Jensen's in lunch break as well. Let's see. Our fearless leader will stop at nothing to keep his subs content and happy. You know, it's all for you. I will tell you that, Heidi, I love this. I love doing what I do. This is me. I don't know how else to say it, but when I go here and I hit the live button, I start talking. This is how I am. This is what you get. I don't have to pretend I'm anything else. I don't have to be what somebody else wants me to be. It's just me, and it's so comfortable to come here every day and just talk and hang out. So thank you so much for being here. I'm glad you like it. Rowdy, RA missed nothing but defense attorney hissy fit. Yeah, a little bit of that. We did hear the. We also missed. I missed. You guys didn't. I missed the Alex Jensen Vordeer, where the judge talked to him about not testifying, and he chose not to testify. That's his own decision. Like a baby photo shows, he wouldn't kill his family. Yeah, that's going to be the one that seals the deal. Really, it's like that's the nail in the coffin for the defense as far as proving his innocence. Rich says, we can't function without our captain. I was wondering the aimless in the YouTube universe. That's dangerous, Rich. You can fall into some pretty weird rabbit holes if you just wander in YouTube. You got a notification too, little miss? This is great. Yes, Maui gal, this is real. It's good to be back. Love the sound. Yay, back. Woohoo from Toxic. Good to have you, Toxic. We're back. You didn't miss much. No, it was sort of slow. A lot of things are. I mean, it was fast, but there was not a lot of content. I'm not sure so much about Alex Jensen. Sorry, not Alex Jensen, but Mark Jensen. I've been watching. I've got that one going, but I'm not listening to that one in the background. I think it's in break 2. Why did I somehow ended up with two streams of the same place? I thought I had Alex on one and Mark on the other, but apparently I've got both on one, or the same on both. Okay. Anyway, sunny Florida mom, good to have you here. Sunny Florida is a great place to be, apparently. It's a little chilly here. It's nice, but it's chilly. It's windy outside. I had to scare some squirrels off my house. I think they're looking for a place to nest. And my house looks very inviting, and so I have to encourage them to not be there so much. Yay, says Rich, we've been rescued. The lifeboat came just in time. Everybody on board, hop aboard, make room. Rainbow Light, Shells, Nems Grill. I appreciate all the welcome backs. Carly, welcome. Josh. O-Town, you still haven't told me. Is that, or at least maybe you have told me, and I haven't scrolled down far enough to see. Did you change your name? Creative B, Suzanne, Little Miss, Nems, 6 Volt, Rowdy, Danny, greetings from Corfu, Greece. Danny, is Greece home for you, or are you visiting? That sounds awesome. Seattle, Washington, Katrina, Hetherington. How do you, is it a Hetherington or Hetherington? Is that second E silent? That's my question. JR is back. Yes, hello again. Good to have you. We're just waiting for trial to start, but it might help if I'm on the right feed. Oh, somehow I ended up on TMJ4. That's not where I wanted to be. KCRG. There we go. Okay, so is this live? Okay. Let me pull this up here. I think we're back right now. Apologize.
All right, so just to be clear, you've withdrawn P97.
Yes, Your Honor.
These are the pictures, right? So the baby picture has been withdrawn.
All right. I've looked at the photos, and again, the state's conceded that some of them should be admitted. It's just really, where do you draw the line? on
Baby pictures.
relevance.
It's a bit of a stretch.
At this point, are there any other objections other than as noted? No. All right. I'm going to admit P1, P6, P7, P8, P9, P10, P13.
There's a lot of pictures.
Through P15, P24, P25, P28, P29, P30, P32, P47, P48, P57.
Well, he's reading off these numbers. The California guy who helped me, his name is Justin, and he's actually been really good to work with. And he was so apologetic. He's like, I'm sorry, I should have sent this out. That was my fault.
P81,
But
P84.
I hope to work with him again because he's been very helpful.
Through
He's not the one that made the decision not to give me anything. But yeah, new box, bigger, better, stronger. It looks identical. The only thing different is there's a different password.
P94.
That's it. But the speed-wise, it's going 4 times as fast as the other one. Or
P95 is just a picture of
no,
the
10
defendant
times.
much younger standing by himself. I see no potential relevance to that picture. P95, I'm not admitting.
Here's his school yearbook photos.
Drawn.
Here's chess club.
P117 again is just
This
the
is
defendant
band camp.
and his dog. P116.
Thank you, Myra. It's good to be back.
So I'm not admitting P95, P97, P95, P117, P117, P116, P98. These are all P99.
Canned Laughter. They actually they said, oh, if you do that, we'll give you a $50
defendant just by himself.
a $50
There's already pictures of
rebate
him
for each
in
person
Cub
that signs up.
Scouts.
Well, I happen to have been on their website. We're talking about fiber internet again. I happened to be on their
All those are
website
out.
earlier,
P99,
and they have a program that I
P100,
looked up,
P101,
and it's
P102.
$200 per person.
Again, these are all
If I
those that I just
sign
mentioned
this
are all
little
just the
document, then I get
defendant standing by
$200 for each
himself,
person I sign
either
up.
with a flute or
But,
Cub Scout uniform. There's plenty of pictures that have been admitted.
We're going back to Cub
that
Scouts.
are being admitted that show him as a Cub Scout or with his flute. Same with
This is crazy. Okay, I'm falling way behind on the chat. Sorry, I'll go faster here. Somebody said, is broadband better than
Same
dish-based
with
internet,
P05,
or is fiber
P11,
better? I need new
P112,
internet. Lil Miss, fiber is going to be the
P18,
best right now.
and P119.
It might not always be,
Those are all, again,
but it
not
is the
family
speed of
pictures.
light.
They're either of the
It's hard to
defendant by
find
himself or
things that go faster
band
than
or
light.
Scouting. And again, there's already pictures
Let's see. Let me turn this down just a little bit.
that have been admitted.
So the good thing about fiber
showing
internet
those
is generally
activities,
the
plus
connection is symmetrical,
defendant
meaning
really
your
hasn't
download speed and your
articulated
upload speed are the same.
relevance. His argument with relevance was that
All the
these
other
pictures
ones,
were
the
relevant to
broadbands, the
family
DSL,
situation.
the dish-based, usually your download is really fast, so you can download videos and stuff fast, but the upload is very slow, and that's what I've got right here. I've got a fast download and a slow upload. So if I go fiber, I'll have a super fast download and a super fast upload, and then there will be no buffering because of me. P. Cooper's back. Good to have you.
I pulled them all out.
The judge just went through the family photo album and
95.
threw out a bunch of stuff.
97,
I said, nope. Bad picture, out of focus, blurry,
96,
too early, not
98,
relevant.
99, 100, 101, 102.
A couple of you have said, I was actually texting with a buddy of mine
111, 112,
from a previous job
117,
with the government
sorry,
that
116
that
as
has
well,
fiber still.
and
He's on the
119.
same,
I've taken
basically
them
the same
all
fiber
out
network
from
I was
here.
on. He's like, I don't know what I'd do without it. I'm not sure if he's here or not.
it's just the
I won't
ones
out him.
in front.
But I'm so excited to
starting
get
here
fiber
with
back.
P1. All right, anybody have any questions about where we're at this point?
Oh, this canned laughter. This their cell phone witness had been fired as chief of police from like a college police group or something. He
Why
got
are
like
you
a
gonna scan these in?
He got like a vote of no confidence, and they ousted him. Cross was brutal.
They're not going to show him to the jury now. What's your concern?
MB, they're only asking the jurors 45 at a time. So the 45 they asked all stood up. I don't think they've gone through all 700 yet. I'm not following really closely what's happened yet. I'm just sort of keeping an eye on some of the people that are tweeting about it. But it'll be interesting. The big story out of there is just how many food trucks are parked outside by the courthouse trying to make their payday off all the people who are hanging out there.
Available for the record. All right.
Yeah.
Are we ready to bring in
He left out because he was chief of police.
So then,
that small moment that I was happy to be chief of police. That was police experience, but I'm not going to talk about it because I got fired. And he was self-proclaimed. He made his own title.
Anybody have any
it's like, you should have made it like King
ones
something.
that I said I'm not admitting of the ones he wanted to offer, let's just consider those offered, and I'm not admitting them, so he doesn't need to make another offer in front of the jury. Is that acceptable for everybody for record purposes? And then just offer the ones that are in there. State can just say, other than the objection already made, no further objection, I'll admit them, and then we'll go on to the state.
The judge doesn't want the jury to hear that like a whole bunch of evidence is not being let in. And it's not relevant. The jury just doesn't need to know about
I'm happy to do it. If you just bring me the binder, I'll just read out the ones that you're offering. And, I'm happy to do it.
This is nice of the judge. This is very fair. This helps.
You don't need to bring them back and scan them. So, all right, are we ready to bring in the jury?
The fact is that the fact that he's reading off the number of the picture.
All right, let's bring him in.
You're a common person
who
couldn't just assume.
Jeff Holst. Holst, H-O-L-S-T. All right, thanks.
Holtz. Jeff Holtz is the next witness. He's the rebuttal witness. Anyway, just a common person could look at the numbers and say, yeah, you have 1, 3, 14, 15, 16, 17, 27. You can tell you've missed some, that some aren't being allowed in. But I like what the judge is doing anyway. He used Cellbrite technology for analysis of the phones. Yeah, he was a young guy too, but he testified well. I will give you this. He was pretty good, and he came across not like blatantly like the dog guy who's like, I will only say things that make the defense look good. He made sure and clarified things and said, this is what I can do, and this is what I can't. And he came across very good that way. But Cross was brutal to him. It's about his employment history. Whoa! Someone just dragged the microphone across the floor. They did only check a little bit in July. And yes, there is a possibility, Tom, that deleting it does erase everything in the log. From my background in IT, I would doubt that a great deal. Logs there are fingerprints everywhere, digital fingerprints of everything you do. And when you check the log on a phone like that, if something was deleted, it probably would have shown up. I really do think that during that time frame, if around those 4 days that they checked in around the murder, if it had been installed at some previous time and then deleted, they would have seen it. Grumpy Cat, it's good to have you here. Let's see. 90-minute closings.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and have a seat, and hope you had a good lunch.
New modem, yes. Same as the old one, but different model.
All right, so we have our jurors back. We have counsel, Mr. Jackson, back. At this point, I believe the defendant has some additional exhibits that he wishes to offer. I'm going to just go through those. I believe we have exhibit, these are all, start with the letter P. So P1, P6 through P10, P13 through P15, P24.
I'm just thinking of the Mark Jensen trial, thinking I'm so glad the judge wasn't doing the same thing with that one. So we have 160 P pictures. I mean, they start with P.
P32, P47 and P48.
Way too many pics.
P57, P67, P75 through 78. Excuse me.
You took over the chat.
Through 78.
That's awesome, Tish.
P80.
You took over the chat over in Online Crime
P84,
or on KCG.
P86.
Who's it on?
P80.
I can't even remember the name of the channel we're on.
Well, actually all the way through
There's a lawsuit.
P92, so P86 through P92, P94, P137, and P148. You wish to offer those at this time, Mr. Johnson? Yes, Your Honor. Other than as noted, any further objection, Ms. Slaughter?
No objection aside from what has already been made a record of, Your Honor.
All right, then at this time, the exhibits that I just mentioned are all admitted. With that, Mr. Johnson, does the defendant have any further evidence?
No, Your Honor. The defense rests.
All right.
Defense
Ms.
rests.
Slaughter, does the state have any rebuttal?
Your Honor, the state would call Jeffrey Holst to the stand.
Let's do it at the right end of
afternoon.
Holst, because that will be the last of
Have
the
you come on up here to the
evidentiary
seat
portion of
furthest to my
the
left.
trial. So we'll give this guy, if he's the last witness, we'll do a poll right at the end of this. How about that, Grumpy Cat?
Go ahead and have a seat.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. And that microphone's on, so just you can adjust it however you'd like.
Sure.
All right, sir, I'm going to go ahead and swear you in. Mr. Holst, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll be giving today in this matter will be the
What do you
truth?
guys think?
Yes.
Dog or
All right,
phone?
Put your hand down. And then just for the record, can you please give me your full name and spell both your first and last name for me?
Sure. My first name is Jeff, Jeff. My last name is spelled Holst.
Ms. Slaughter?
Thank you, Your Honor. Investigator Holst, can you tell us how you're currently employed?
Yes, I'm employed with the Cedar Rapids Police Department
And how long have you been employed with the Cedar Rapids Police Department?
since 2005.
Are you a certified peace officer in the state of Iowa?
Yes, I am.
Went through one of the Iowa law enforcement academies?
Yes.
What is your current title with CRPD?
I'm an investigator with the Criminal Investigative Division. I specialize in digital forensics.
Ah, he's a
so
phone
I'm a
guy.
certified forensic computer examiner.
Are you an
And
analyst?
when you say that you are a certified forensics computer examiner, tell me how one becomes certified as such.
Well, first of all, it's a fancy way of saying I look for evidence in digital electronics. So it sounds kind of like a mouthful, but the training really isn't too bad. It's spread out over a couple years. The first trainings that I go to are through an organization called the National White Collar Crime Center. That training provides locations throughout the U.S. where I go and learn the basics, and then the intermediate, and then the advanced type of topics when it comes to digital evidence. And then I attended the International Association of Computer Investigative Specialists training. That's the certifying body for me. They're an accredited program, and so they certify me, and then I have to recertify every 3 years.
My company doesn't charge me extra.
And where's
for
that training that takes place
YouTubing
when
from
you're
home.
accredited?
That's in Orlando, Florida.
Because
In
it's
your
in a
professional
residence.
capacity, what type of cases do you generally work on with the Investigative Bureau?
I work on the Iowa Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, which is part of a nationwide task force that involves child exploitation, child pornography types of cases. And because of that, I also have technical skills that apply to other types of cases, such as the one we're talking about today.
And how so?
I can examine any kind of electronics, and so even though my primary duties when I go in every day is to look at cases that have to do with child pornography or child exploitation, if there's a homicide, if there's a robbery, a burglary, that type of thing, if there's any kind of electronic device that needs to be examined, typically that is left up to me to do that for the department and also for the surrounding communities.
Can you tell us if in your professional capacity you spend time dealing with a program called Celebrate?
Yes, I have.
Can you tell us what Celebrate is?
Celebrate is a company. They offer several different services. The services that they
Celebrate
offer
or
at
Celebrite?
our department that we can actually touch are hardware and software. So they have hardware that can do extractions from
I like that
phones,
title,
which means pulling the
Tish.
data from phones and other electronic devices. They have software that then processes that data because the data comes out in a bunch of language that we don't really understand. And so the software, they provide software that helps us look at that in a quicker way than we would if we did it manually. If we did it manually, it would take, months to just do one exam, whereas we can do an exam in a shorter amount of time with their software. They also provide labs across the nation where you can send electronics. So if it's something that we can't do in our lab, for instance, if it's a broken type of device, we can send it to their lab and they can help us with those types of things.
And did you receive specific training on how to operate and analyze data that you receive from Cellebrite's programming?
Yes, so the training that I go through is, they call it vendor neutral, because Cellebrite is just one of many companies that offers those types of services. And so we don't just have Cellebrite in our lab, we have different types of companies that we purchase from. And so the training I go to is vendor neutral. It teaches the basics, and I always kind of explain it as they teach us how to do the long division without the calculator, and then the software that we get from either Cellebrite or another company does the calculator stuff for us, and then we check it, check your math manually when we find some type of evidence.
When you analyze data that has been received after, I think we've commonly referred to it as a phone dump, when you're analyzing that information, is there a specific process or protocol that you go through every time
what he's
that you
saying
analyze?
is, I have a very particular set of skills. I think that's what he meant.
Yes, generally there is.
Can you walk us through, let me ask that better. Specifically in regard to this case, did you look at the phone belonging to Alexander Jackson?
Yes, I did.
Did you look at that phone in an attempt to determine if a specific app related to Ring cameras had been installed or deleted from the phone?
Yes, I did.
Can you walk us through what process or procedure you went through when analyzing that information?
Yes, so this case obviously happened a few years ago. And so the initial extraction of data, or phone dump as people like to call it, happens right away. And we use specialized hardware and software to do that. That extracts the data out, and then we process it using software. Typically what I do is I produce a report that is easy to see. You can click through it, you can kind of navigate through it sort of like a web page. And I give that to the investigators because they're familiar with the case and they look through some of that content. And then if they have specific questions, such as a Ring app or something else, then they come back to me and say, hey, can you use your training and experience to do a deeper dive on this application and find out more information?
Tag
so I first start with the software. The software has a roadmap to help it figure out what to display in front of me. And so it has categories along the side, kind of like a web page. It has navigation. It'll have categories such as application usage or media or internet usage, like power events, different things like that. So whatever you're interested in or whatever you're investigating, you can click on the side and it'll display it in a table in front of you. When it comes to media, it'll display a bunch of thumbnail images for us to look at, just like you would on the internet or on your phone when you're going through your picture gallery. That's the first step, is to look at data that way. And we try to use the software to narrow down what we're looking at. When we find something of interest, that's when the training that I've gone to kind of kicks in a little bit, is I have to make sure that that data being represented by the software is actually what it really is. Because otherwise, if I come to court and testify about it, that could be a really bad deal if the software is showing it incorrectly. And so what I do is I do an extra step of what's called validating the data. So it's forensically validating the data. And in other words, checking your math. In school, you might do a math problem and stuff like that and hand it over to your partner and they check it and they say, yep, you did it right, and so they're checking my work and I'm checking the software's work to make sure that it does it right. And so that's where the rubber meets the road, is you have to make sure that you validate the software correctly, because it can display things incorrectly due to, many times we get software updates on our phones. It happens all the time, actually, for my phone. It's always wanting me to update software and applications. So those can impact how the software works. And so the software that we use to look at the evidence isn't always correct.
Trying to do this here.
And so that's why we validate it.
During this deep dive that you did into Alex Jackson's phone, were you able to form an opinion as to whether or not that Ring app was ever installed and or deleted from this phone?
I have an opinion about it, but I don't know.
So yes, you formed an opinion.
Yes, I formed an opinion.
And what is that opinion?
The opinion is there's no evidence to show one way or the other. When we find evidence, and I'll go back to what I usually do every day, is I look at pictures and videos. If you find a picture or video,
sounds like a rough
I
job.
can do a deeper dive on that
That's what I
picture
do.
and video.
I look at
and try
pictures
to
and
figure
videos.
out, you know,
I
how
could be
did
an
it get
analyst.
there? Did the user of the device, and is there evidence that they knew it was there, or did it just download on its own? That sort of thing. When something doesn't exist,
This is the
there's no
state's
way to prove
rebuttal
negative.
witness
We can
on
try.
the cell phone.
And what I did was I went into some databases and manually went through the databases, and manually went through the tables in the databases to look for evidence of the Ring app, and I didn't locate any. But the problem is that we aren't software developers, and software developers have proprietary ways that they program their software. And so the Ring app isn't going to tell you exactly how it interacts with your phone. And your phone's not going to tell you how it interacts with the Ring app. And so when I don't find evidence of the Ring app, I can't say with certainty, I can't testify with certainty whether it was or was not on the phone.
If the defense is on their game, they could do a killer cross of this guy.
Was the phone the only device that you checked for the Ring application or accessing the Ring?
There was other devices in the home that we checked.
And what were those devices?
There was three other devices. There was a device owned by the sister. I'm bad with names. Some people might be like me, but I referred to him as the sister's phone, the dad's phone, the mom's phone, and then the brother's phone. And so brother would be the defendant. And so I looked at the defendant's phone, and then I looked at the other three phones, as well as a gaming computer, and then I attempted to look at a laptop computer.
And when you say you looked at mom and dad's phone, you did find evidence on those phones that the Ring app existed, right?
Yes, I did.
And you found evidence that the dad's phone had been accessed on June 13th of 2021?
Yes, and I have some notes I can refer to if you need exact dates and times, but that's correct.
And mom's phone had been accessed, I believe, June 12th of 2021, is that correct?
That's correct.
What about sister's phone?
I didn't see any evidence of the app on that phone.
Now, you said something interesting. Well, you said you looked at a gaming computer, correct?
Yes.
And what's a gaming computer?
It really can be anything, but typically I label computers based on what I find on them. And what I found on this computer was it was a souped-up computer, kind of like a souped-up car, and it appeared to be used for gaming, which is really common these days, and lots of people have them. So it's like a tower rather than having a laptop or something like that. It's a tower.
It's
it has
high
extra
performance.
hardware inside
It's made
that can
to handle intense graphics.
and things of that sort. And then there was also a lot of gaming information on the computer, which leads me to believe it's a gaming computer.
Yeah, it's expensive.
And
yes,
then you said there was a laptop that you attempted to look in, is that correct?
Yes, I attempted to do an examination of a laptop that was found in the home, and I was not able to get into that actual laptop.
Were you able to determine who that laptop belonged to?
It appeared to have belonged to the defendant because it was found in the same area as the gaming computer, but without getting into the actual laptop itself, I mean, I can't say for sure who owns the computer. We don't usually get that far into it unless we start looking at user data and logins.
Was it in his room?
And you weren't able to get into it?
I was not, no.
Why?
It was encrypted.
It was encrypted.
What does that mean, to be encrypted?
Encryption just means it's scrambled and you need a key to get into it. And so really it's more complicated than that, obviously, but really the simple way of looking at it is the data on it is all scrambled and it's in code. And if you don't have the decryption key or you don't have the password to open the decryption key, then you can't actually access the information on the computer.
And so regarding the laptop or the encrypted laptop, you were, again, not able to confirm or deny, if that's the word I'm looking for. You couldn't tell whether or not Ring had been accessed from that laptop either.
No, I couldn't access any information from the laptop.
BitLocker. Yep. Sounds like BitLocker. I've used a couple different encryption tools in my time. All government computers, the laptops that if we had to take the computer off the premises, it had to be encrypted before we could do that. It just means that when you power on the computer,
Investigator
you
Holst,
can't access anything without knowing
is
the code.
part
It won't
of
even power
this
up.
investigation, you were, or were you the point of contact for the return of information after the execution of the search warrants?
Yes, for the ring search warrants I was.
For the ring search warrants. Thank you for
Yes.
that clarification.
Yes.
Investigator Holst, my understanding was that there were 2 different warrants served on the ring company. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
I'm going to go ahead and light my candle. Do you guys want to watch?
In the second set of data, or the second attempt to receive data from Ring, did you receive information or any additional video clips in that second execution of that search warrant?
No, I did not. The return from Ring indicated that the devices were offline and there was no data available.
Do you know what it means for the devices to be offline?
Yes, I mean, they're not connected to Ring's network, so Ring can't communicate with them, and therefore information can't be exchanged from the devices to Ring where they store it.
When the first search warrant was executed, in order for you to have received that information, does that indicate that
Lights every time.
the devices were online at that time?
Yes, when we receive information from Ring, we know at least during those times the devices were active and communicating with the Ring's network, because the search warrant is to the servers at Ring. They actually have the data. It's not stored on the devices themselves in the home. And so, yeah, we knew that they were communicating at that point.
To be clear, did you receive any information, though, that explained why that second attempt or that second execution of the search warrant, why the devices showed to be offline?
No.
I don't have any further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination, Mr. Johnston.
Hi.
Ivan, good to have you here.
Investigator's fine, or you can call me Jeff.
Let's call you Jeff.
Okay.
So there was a second search warrant served on Ring for an experiment that the officers did in the backyard. Is that right?
That's my understanding, yes.
But you got no
His microphone's off.
cameras back. Is that what you're saying?
That's the part that I do know, yes, is there was no data back from Ring on the second search warrant.
Cameras.
That's correct, yes.
So all the cameras were offline then?
That's the indication that Ring gave us, yes.
Because I didn't see that anywhere in the report from Ring. So you're saying that you had information from Ring that when you did the second experiment for the 17th of June, that they told you that all the cameras were offline?
That's correct, and I communicated that to the team that was doing the experiment. That's why I said I only know about the data, I don't know about the experiment.
So that means all the cameras, the garage camera, right?
That's correct.
And the backyard camera?
Yes,
And the front door camera?
correct.
All the cameras that were working on the 15th of June, right?
All the cameras that were hooked up to the network were not, or were offline when we did the second search warrant.
But they were online on June 15th, correct?
Yes, they were, because the cameras were online. I'd have to look at the data to say, but whatever Ring returned to us would have a date on it. So I don't recall I know that some of the cameras returned on the 15th, but I don't know if all the cameras were on the 15th. Does that make sense?
Sure. You authored an email, did you not, on June 16th of 2021? You sent to Josh McAlpin?
Yes, I remember that.
And who is Josh McAlpin?
He's a sergeant in the Criminal Investigative Division.
And you wrote, and this is with reference to the first search warrant on June 15th, right? You wrote, the backyard camera only has 2 motion-activated clips, both around 6:30 Monday night. I am waiting on confirmation from Ring that these really are the only 2 clips, right?
Yes, that's what I was talking about, is I believe those clips weren't on the 15th, so that's why I didn't want to testify inaccurately.
Gotcha. Those were on the 14th, right? Those 2 clips.
From memory, yes, I believe so.
Other cameras have dozens of clips, including police activity after the 911 call.
I can
This
help you out,
angle
Ivan, if you
doesn't.
want.
It is possible they didn't send all the clips, or the motion trigger is either set up differently to avoid picking up backyard animals, or is not functioning correctly, right?
That's correct.
That's what you wrote.
That's what I wrote.
And that's why you conducted this test on the 17th to try to see if there was something wrong with perhaps the motion detector, right?
That's partially right. First of all, I checked with Ring, and they confirmed that there was only those 2 clips, because my email said, hey, maybe we just didn't get all of them. So I checked with Ring to make sure there weren't any more clips, and they said there weren't. I passed that along to the team that was doing the investigation. And then I did not participate in the experiment, so I don't mean to avoid your question, but I had nothing to do with that, so I can't really testify to that.
No, and that's quite all right.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that these were the possibilities that you brought up in your email to Josh McAlpin, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And the reason that you were all wondering about this is because on the 15th of June, all the other cameras showed police activity from that day, right?
That's what I remember, yes.
And the only camera that didn't even show the police in the backyard was the backyard camera, right?
That's correct.
Even though we know that the police were in the backyard that day.
Let them finish this,
Yes,
and I'll
that's
answer this one, AJ.
So it sounds like from your testimony that you would agree that there was no evidence on the defendant's phone that he ever had the Ring app on there, right?
That's correct. There's no evidence on the phone to say whether or not the Ring app was on there.
And you would also agree there was no evidence of the Ring app ever being on the sister's phone too, right?
That's correct.
Wouldn't that be entirely consistent with the fact that the parents set up these cameras and the kids didn't have anything to do with it?
Objection, Your Honor, that one calls for speculation.
Sustained.
AJ,
So if I got your testimony
I'll answer
correct
this in a
on
minute. Don't let me forget.
what you testified to about where you did find the Ring app, you basically agree with the person that we had review these, right?
I hesitate to agree to anybody that's been talking, because I don't remember exactly all what he said, so.
Well, okay,
If you can help me out, I can try to agree or disagree with something.
You said that the Ring app was last launched on Jan Jackson's phone on 6/13/21 at about 6:20 p.m.
I have my notes. Can I look at my notes?
Sure. Oh, please do.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Please do.
Normally we don't look at notes, but with this kind of stuff, I want to make sure I'm accurate, and I can't remember dates and times that well.
We want you to be accurate too.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, sir.
So, would you agree that the Ring app was last launched on Jan Jackson's phone on 6/13/21 for 47 seconds at 6:20 p.m.?
I've got it actually at 6:19 and 11 seconds.
Well, and wouldn't that be the camera photo that was at 6:19?
No, I've got a different time here, so.
Okay. All right, you're off, so you would disagree by a minute then?
Yeah, I'm not trying to split hairs. I'm just saying. I have from 6:19:11 seconds to 6:19:40 seconds, so that's what I have.
Okay. All right. Same date, 6/13/21,
That's correct.
and roughly at the same time.
That's good, yeah.
And did you note how long the app had been launched for?
Well, between 6:19:11 and 6:19:40, that would be how long
Okay.
the app was open.
So we had 47 seconds. You have a little less than that.
That's correct.
All right. And then, did you note that there was a corresponding still photo on June 13th from the backyard camera at 6:19 p.m.?
Yes, I have it at 6:19 and 16 seconds.
Okay. So you would agree with that too?
Yes.
He does agree
And
with
you would
everything.
agree that the Ring app was last launched on Melissa Jackson's phone on 6/12/21?
Correct.
And did you have 8:55 a.m. for that one?
I have it 8:53, but that may be incorrect. I'll go with what you say. That's fine.
And that was active for 24 seconds?
I believe so, yes.
And would you agree that the Ring app does not appear anywhere, we already talked about this, I think, but it doesn't appear anywhere on Alexander Jackson's phone, does it?
That's correct.
When did you do this analysis?
This analysis I looked at just over the weekend because it came up through the prosecution, had some questions for me. So, typically I would spend a little bit more time doing this, but over the weekend I looked at it, and that's why I have my notes here instead of in my head.
You obtained the Celebrite data, though. I want to be accurate.
That's fine.
On June 15th of 2021, right?
That's correct.
So if anybody wanted to know whether Alexander Jackson had used the app, they had that information back on June 15th of 2021, right?
Yes, I passed the reports that you can navigate through along to the investigators.
Not only did you have Alex's phone on Celebrite download on June 15th of 2021, but that's when you also had all the other family members' phones downloads available, right?
Yeah, we had all the downloads available within the same period of time, give or take a few hours.
Looks like from your police reports that you got them all on 6/15 of 2021.
That sounds right, yeah.
So you've had all of that time to do whatever analysis you wanted to do about the Ring app. The Cedar Rapids Police Department has had it all that time, right?
Yes, we have.
You could have done this analysis at any time between June 15th of 2021 and today.
That's correct.
And you did it yesterday.
I was asked to do it this weekend.
Would that have been yesterday?
Well, I think we talked about it on Friday and then yesterday. I don't recall, to be honest with you. I know I did stuff yesterday, yes, but the Ring questions started coming up.
The funny thing is the substance of his testimony is identical to the other witness.
But it doesn't have to be a question, right? I mean, there are ways that you can investigate this that would tell you whether or not the Ring app was ever on Alexander Jackson's phone, isn't there?
I'm not sure what you mean, sir.
Let me ask you this question. And back on June 15th of 2021, could you have got another similar model phone, downloaded the Ring app onto that phone, deleted it, and then downloaded the Celebrite data from that phone to determine whether or not it would still show that the app had been installed?
That would not be the way we would typically do things, no.
Well, how would you do it then? If you wanted to know if the Celebrite data was, if it could definitively say that something had never been on someone's phone, how would you go about doing that?
Well, that's the problem, is you can't say anything for sure when there's a negative like that. So if I were to do that experiment and if I were able to get the exact right software from Apple and the right, which is difficult, but I'm sure for a murder trial we could somehow try to get that. And the exact right software from Ring, because they obviously have different version numbers, and the exact same phone, it's still, all the variables still wouldn't be equal because of the way that phones work. I don't want to get into the weeds on the technicalities and confuse everybody, but phones work in the background. So things are happening all the time in the background on your phone. And we don't know about it, we don't see it, it's not part of the user experience. And so I couldn't replicate that experiment like you could in high school when you do an experiment where you have, a certain amount of one substance and a certain amount of another substance, and you try to mix them and that sort of thing. Well, you can't do a scientific experiment that would be conclusive by doing it that way.
But you would at least know, if you did that, you could at least look at that data and say whether it showed up or not, right?
It's just not best practice to do it that way.
Well, I'm just saying, are there not ways you can examine that to see whether or not an app has ever been on somebody's phone and then been deleted?
That's what I'm saying, is that I've gone into the databases and manually gone through the databases to look for evidence of the application on the phone, and I didn't find any evidence of that. But what I'm saying, since I'm testifying in court, is that I can't say that that app was never on the phone. There's just no way I can testify to that. That doesn't mean I'm advocating that the application was on the phone. I'm simply saying I don't know whether it was on the phone or not. Now, if it was currently installed on the phone, yeah, we would be able to see that.
The Ring app would be...
Sorry, what was that?
If the app was currently on the phone, we would be able to see that.
The Ring app would be...
but I just can't say with certainty.
It would support the defense's, or the state's argument that Alexander went and changed the settings on the cameras so they wouldn't record.
I'm saying that if you conducted that experiment, at least you could see in that, on that occasion whether or not the Celebrite download showed that the app was ever on the phone or not, right? You would at least have that example.
It's a flawed experiment, so I wouldn't do it.
Okay. All right. And there's no other way you can find that out?
No.
I disagree. It's not a flawed experiment from a data analyst point. You can install something, see what files it leaves.
But what you did find
and
was,
uninstall and see what's left over
entirely
afterwards,
consistent with
and then
the
compare.
app never having been on Alexander Jackson's phone, correct?
No, I wouldn't agree with that. Again, I'm not trying to split hairs and be difficult, but I want to be precise when I testify. And no, I cannot say whether or not it was on the phone and then deleted, or if it was never on the phone, just like I can't say that with the sister's phone.
No, I understand that. I'm saying it's consistent. What you found is consistent with the app never having been on Alexander Jackson's phone.
I can't say that because the measure that you're trying to compare it to be consistent, that measure is unknown. Again, I'm not trying to get into the weeds or be technical about it, but I just can't agree to that.
That was a good answer from him.
I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnston.
Ms. Slaughter, redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Then, investigator, you are free to step down and free to leave.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Where do I get my check?
Does the state have any additional rebuttal witnesses?
The state does not have any additional rebuttal witnesses,
done.
Your Honor.
Any
It's time for a
rebuttal
poll.
on behalf of the defendant?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, every once in a while things go as I expect. And so I think that went kind of like I thought it was going to, and I told you. So what this means is we're done with the evidence in this case. We're going to let you go, as I indicated before lunch at this point. There's some things we have to finalize and take up, and so that we're going to be in a position to, at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, start directly with me providing you with the jury instructions, or at least most of them, and then we'll go into closing arguments, just so you can prepare for tomorrow morning, or for tomorrow. Once the case has been submitted to you folks, then we do keep you here during the day, right? So there will not be a lunch break. Tomorrow, I would anticipate you will get lunch. We will provide you lunch. If Terry is not already, she'll get a lunch order from you.
Oh, Terry does that as well.
You will
3
be here.
jobs.
You will not get to go home or leave once you've begun your deliberations tomorrow until the end of the day or however long that takes, and you'll get further instructions. But I just wanted to let you know that don't plan on a lunch break tomorrow, all right? So, again, this case has not been submitted to you, so keep an open mind. You still have the law that you're going to get, and then the closing arguments of the attorneys. Keep an open mind. Don't make up your mind yet or any decisions. Don't come to any decisions in this case. Don't continue not to discuss this case with anybody. Again, avoid any media coverage of this case. And again, no investigation of any type or research about anything or anybody related to this case. And with that and the rest of the admonition, bid you a good afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow ready to go by 9 o'clock.
Okay, so they'll probably have a little bit of a little discussion back and forth about jury instructions or something after the jury's gone. While the jury's leaving, I want to answer AJ's question. Is it normal for a college student gamer kid to have that level of encryption on a laptop? I'd say normal. If we polled our group here, I would venture a guess that less than 10% of us have encryption on our computer devices. A lot of us, a higher percentage, might have encryption on some of the messaging devices we use on our phone. Say if you use like WhatsApp or Signal or something like that. I think the prevalence of encryption in communications is a lot higher than in data at rest, where like we have on our laptops and computers at home. It's not so bizarre that it would be suspicious, because
Right, go ahead, be seated.
BitLocker is a off-the-shelf program you can buy and run on your computer for security. So people who have security
back
concerns,
on the
maybe
record,
if they
outside the presence of the jury,
were
we have
hacked
counsel
before,
and Mr.
they might be
Jackson
interested in
present.
that.
I believe at this point, Mr. Johnson, you wish to make a motion on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your Honor. We'd like to make a motion for a directed verdict or judgment of acquittal on counts 1, 2, and 3, and all of the lesser included offenses. I think for the sake of the record, I have to go through those as well. But the issue that we do not believe that the state has proven is the defendant committed these offenses. So with respect to count 1, murder in the first degree, we do not believe the state that a reasonable jury could find that the defendant was the person who shot and killed. I believe count 1 is Jan Jackson. Do I have the? And also that with respect to the lesser included offense of murder in the second degree, that we do not believe a reasonable jury could find that the state has proved that the defendant was the one who shot Jan Jackson. I believe that that we're also going to be getting an involuntary manslaughter, lesser included offense, and for the same reason there, I believe that the state has not, that a reasonable jury would not find that the defendant was the one who shot Jan Jackson with respect to that charge as well, with the lesser included. I think, are those all the lessers the court's going to be giving?
Nobody's requested anything beyond that, so absent a request from anybody, I'm not going to give any additional lessers.
Just trying to make my record, Your Honor.
Yep.
With respect to Melissa Jackson, which I believe would be count 2, we do not believe that a reasonable jury could find that the defendant was the one who shot Melissa Jackson with respect to murder in the first degree, or with respect to murder in the second degree, or involuntary manslaughter. We make the same argument as to the identity on those, on the lesser included offenses there. And with respect to count 3, we don't believe the state has shown that a reasonable jury could find that the defendant killed Sabrina Jackson and for murder in the first degree or murder in the second degree, or with respect to involuntary manslaughter. The same argument being that we don't believe that a reasonable jury could find that the defendant committed those offenses against Sabrina Jackson, and for those reasons we'd be moving for a directed verdict of judgment of acquittal.
All right, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Scheer, it'll be you this time. All right, Mr. Scheer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the state would resist the defendant's motion. First and foremost, based off of the reasons the state has previously stated on its resistance, as well as the reasons the court has provided.
Yeah, this will be denied.
When looking at this motion, the court must look in the evidence in light of the state. The state has established a prima facie case for each count. Count 1, murder in the first degree. The victim is Jan Jackson. Count 2, murder in the first degree. The victim is Melissa Jackson. And count 3, murder in the first degree, where the victim is Sabrina Jackson. The state has established a prima facie case for each one of these case counts based off of the testimony provided, and even addition with the testimony that the defense has provided. The key sole question here is who was the individual responsible for the shooting.
The judge is going to deny
June
this,
5th of
but I can tell you what this is.
That is a question that should be left up to the jury, because it is a question of fact, and there is more than enough evidence for the jury to reach verdicts of guilt on each and every one of these counts based off all of the testimony provided. So for those reasons, and the reasons previously stated by both the state and the court, we'd ask the court to deny the motion.
Anything further, Mr. Johnson?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Scheer? No, Your Honor. All right, then, I mean, essentially, and I understand, but this is essentially the same motion the court's already addressed, and for the same reasons. Nothing's really changed with the additional evidence. Again, as I noted, this is a circumstantial case, but I do believe the state has presented evidence when viewed in a light most favorable to the state,
which is how I has to view it.
Raises a jury question about whether or not the defendant was the individual who killed Jan, Melissa, and Sabrina Jackson. And again, it's going to be up to the jury to weigh those circumstances and decide whether or not they find that it was the defendant. Circumstances include, but are not limited to, fingerprints on the gun, Mr. Jackson's location in the residence, and other circumstances as demonstrated by the evidence. And again, viewing all of that, and as I'm required to do at this stage of the proceedings, there has been a jury question raised, and substantial evidence justifying an inference of guilt. And for those reasons and the reasons I've previously articulated, the motion for judgment of acquittal is denied.
Okay.
At this point, is there anything else we need to address on the record, or can we just move to an informal conversation to talk about jury instructions, and then maybe either later today or first thing in the morning make a formal record on jury instructions?
We can move to informal conversations.
Mr. Johnson?
Agreed.
All right.
Okay. So they're going to talk
So,
jury instructions.
jury
The clerk gets to go home.
Couple
I'm going to turn this down just for a little bit. The motion that the defense just made was basically where it's a formality. I mean, it's a
informally.
It's a regular request that at the end of all the evidence, the defense makes a motion saying, "Hey, they didn't give enough evidence. They haven't proved this." And they're asking the judge, with his experience, with his understanding of the law and the elements of the charges that have to be met, to weigh that evidence and look at it, and without the input of the jury, without them even going into deliberations, look at that and say, "You're right. The state has not proven this," and so thus a judgment of acquittal. We're gonna, he's gonna enter the judgment and the case over, done. That's what they asked for. It rarely happens. The state would really have to fall on their face and fail to do their work for that to be granted. So that was not going to happen.
Of substantial risk of death that I always include. I can get the citation and the instruction that I've used multiple times in the case that it comes from. But that if we're doing serious injury, I want to include that as well.
We talked about BitLocker a little bit. I've used that in the past, and I've been pretty happy with it. BitLocker is a great way to encrypt your computer. It does encrypt all the data on your drive. The bad thing is if you forget your password to unlock your computer, you cannot get back in. There's no restore button. There's no edit undo. You're going to be up a creek. So it's got pluses and minuses. The other thing is if your computer is stolen, the power is turned on and you're logged in, they have access to everything. So if you leave your computer running and open on your desk and somebody steals it, then encryption is not going to do you any good. It only is going to do good if your computer is stolen with the power turned off and they have to boot up the computer, because that's where you bypass the encryption at the beginning. Encryption is a way to prevent other people from getting data that they shouldn't have, whether it's your banking information, whether it's, some of you do Bitcoin or cryptocurrency type stuff, like Ivan is saying here, your crypto wallet key phrase.
I'll give it a closer
buy Bitcoin. Yeah.
run over tonight, but at this point, I don't think so.
Ivan, I've got a Bitcoin address somewhere in all my papers. Somebody gave me some Bitcoin way back when it was I think it was $912 a coin was when they gave me some Bitcoin. And now it's up, I don't know, 21,000, 31,000. I don't know how much it costs each right now. But I need to find that little key phrase so I can get back access to that money. It might be my retirement here if I wait long enough. Okay, they've turned the mics off for this discussion, which is really frustrating. The prosecution still has their mic turned on, and that's what we're hearing through. And so if they start talking, it'll be super loud, but defense and the judge don't have their mic on.
So we have the defense and you had issues, just minor issues with the two instructions dealing with one, Mr. Jackson's out-of-court statements, and then the other about the statements of the officers. Correct? Yes, sir. Other than that, you anticipated that there are any significant objections you have at this point? I close, Your Honor. Yeah, hopefully I have caught some of those myself, but
I just noted instruction number 15 has a double line.
A double what?
It repeats itself.
Okay.
In the main paragraph there. I think they threw them all. Has a correction on instruction number 25 that it should be.
I'm not sure if we want to follow this. I'm almost tempted. I'd rather listen to Mark Jensen than to argument over jury instructions here with bad microphones. So yeah, I was sort of surprised when I heard that the laptop was encrypted. I think the defense should have dug into that a little further, because I don't think the gaming computer was in his room, was it? If it was in his room and the laptop was right next to it, yeah, that would indicate that it was his laptop, but they didn't prove it was his. They just said it was by the other computer. So maybe it was his computer, maybe it was his dad's laptop. If his dad had IT experience in the past, it wouldn't surprise me at all that he had an encrypted laptop. That's common to see. People that understand IT and work with it on a day in, day out basis are probably more prone to use security tools that are available than those who just want something to work when they turn it on. Give me a P, says Lindsay. You're going for Jensen. I think they're still, Jensen, I think they've got the jail inmate still testifying, right? Is that what's going on right now? Jury selection of Murdoch and its terrible audio. Yeah, I'm hoping to get the audio figured out before the trial. Court TV is going to be involved in that one, so hopefully they do a good job there. The one thing I like about the Murdoch trial is if going through the documents that the court has released regarding media in the courtroom, they order the media, all the media that are putting out the feed, that they're not allowed to copyright any of the video feeds. They can't say, hey, this is copyright, you can't share this. And so we shouldn't have any copyright strike issues with the Murdoch trial. I wish all the courtrooms did that. KQD, welcome back. There's room for you up front. Yeah. Hopefully it works. Yep, it's working. I'm doing it right now. I'm just getting the citation. I'm not very tech savvy, but I use VPN. Is there a benefit to encryption versus VPN? Yeah, Courtney, the VPN is stands for Virtual Private Network, and that's going to be a secure way to transfer data across the internet. Say instead of just imagine if you had a phone from my house to your house and we were talking to each other. If somebody with the right equipment in the middle could connect to the wires and hear our conversation going both ways. But if we were to scramble our voices on one side and unscramble it on the other side, the people in the middle would just hear scrambled noise. So that's what VPN does. It sort of makes a tunnel that protects the data as it goes back and forth. And there are different ways to do it, and you can get all the way up into some of the stealth technologies like that Unisys does, where they actually scramble the data and then spread it out and to send it on multiple different channels, and then reassemble it on the other side. And their slogan is, you can't hack what you can't see, because the whole tunnel is not visible. Anyway, so that's VPN. Encryption is just going to be on your computer. The data, think about if you save a file and it's on your computer, if you don't want someone to access it, you would have that file encrypted. Or so like you might have a PDF that's encrypted or protected, password protected. But generally when you talk about encryption on a laptop, you encrypt the entire laptop or an entire partition or a drive of a laptop so that everything on there is not accessed unless you have the right code. I'll email this to you soon. So you could use both VPN and encryption. They're arguing over the jailmate's testimony. Should we switch over? Is it too colorful for us? Because if it goes back to the drawings, or worse, Let's see. When will the Murdoch trial start? Maggie, I believe it's supposed to start as soon as the jury's seated. I don't know how many juries they've seated so far. Let me see if I can get an update from Twitter. Oh man, my burner phone is blowing up here, and I apologize for not responding. Let's see. That guy said my stream crashed. Yeah, that was this morning. Sorry about that guy. I did get a cake from Tag. Amazing cake, by the way. She's an artiste when it comes to cake decorating and building, and she does it from scratch. Let's see. Got an update from Maureen. Good to hear from you, Maureen, and hopefully your husband's doing much better and is on the mend. Good to have you here. Okay. What was I looking for? I had the squirrel moment. Oh, I was looking at Twitter, right?
then, yes. Yep.
So Brian Anton is down there, or is at least tweeting from there. He's saying in South Carolina, the judge is the only one who can question the potential jurors. That is different than some other states where lawyers can directly ask questions during jury selection. Here in South Carolina, the lawyers submit the questions to the judge to ask, and it may make the process faster. Okay, I'm going to switch over to we're going to switch over to Jensen really quick. This is going to be a hard jump here, so everyone buckle up and tell me what you think of the clothing selection here from this former inmate.
Your plan. Did you see those words in there, right? Where I said I might be able to help you with that, right? You do see that in there, right?
Your plan was you were going to keep Mr. Klug in his house until any trial was over.
Absolutely.
Oh, he's the guy who was going to keep Klug from testifying.
Trial.
It was all fictitious. It never was going to happen. I just wanted the money.
Your plan was this would all happen for $1,000.
Yeah, that's what I told them.
You were gonna kill somebody for $1,000.
No, I was locked up. How was I going to do anything to anyone?
No money ever exchanged hands, did it?
Nope.
So he made a deal to keep Mr. Klug, who testified in this trial, out of trial. He was basically making a deal he couldn't carry out on his end. This is funny.
The deal was that Mr. Jamboys was going to write a letter to the federal sentencing court, right?
NordVPN.
Yeah, there was no deal.
That's not a deal?
That was not a deal. It was a deal is when you put your signature on something and the judge and you accept it. That's a deal. I didn't do any of that.
On October 10th, 2007, you met with Mr. Jamboys, right?
Yes.
And in that discussion,
is he currently incarcerated?
He said he'd be happy to write a letter to the judge describing your participation and agreement to testify, right?
No, not in the agreement to testify, but in the agreement for my cooperation during the process of the trial.
Let me answer this question since we're sort of jumped in on this.
The agreement was for me to be truthful about
it's
what
funny,
happened
but
on the telephone calls.
Grumpy Cat says, what was the defense trying to prove in the previous case about the Browning 22 rifle holding shorts, that the rifle was not reloaded? Yes, they're basically saying it could have been, short rounds, but the stupid thing is that the casings that were on the ground were long rifle rounds. So you can't say that it was loaded with short rounds, and then when it was fired, the casings stretched and became the long rifle rounds. It was a nothing burger argument from the get-go. Yes, you can fit more shorts in there than long rifles, but it was never going to go anywhere, unless, of course, the prosecution completely neglected to address the fact that the casings they found belonged to long rifle shells.
Cooperation with the authorities in the case, in your agreement to testify. Answer, yes. Question, right? Answer, yes, yes.
This is a Jailhouse.
Well, as you said,
snitch.
he told my attorney that, not me.
And you were part of this October 10th, 2007 recorded interrogation.
With my lawyer and Mr. Jim Boyce? No.
That's when this
All
was,
three of us?
That's
No.
when this was said.
That probably was just me and my lawyer.
You were required to be truthful to any question posed by Mr. Jamboys, right?
To any question posed by anyone on the court.
In order to get this letter from Mr. Jamboys, you had to be truthful, correct?
Of course.
Truthful was as determined by Mr. Jamboys.
No, truthful as in determined by my phone calls. Because if I had attested to anything other than what was on those phone calls, I would have got charged with perjury.
The federal sentencing court had the ability to sentence you up to 40 years, correct?
They had the ability, but they never do.
They were considering, at the time that you came up with this plan, considering you an armed career criminal, correct?
Yes.
Where you'd be facing 30 years to life.
Absolutely.
All of this testimony and this plot was part of the plan to help yourself.
No, and I'll tell you why. I was never in possession of a firearm. I never used a firearm in the commission of my crime. The firearm was found at my house, which was later on determined to be in possession, owned by Kim Nicholas, my girlfriend. It was her gun. Only thing I was charged with was having a half a pound of weed and a bank robbery.
Half pound weed.
Judge, could we have a brief sidebar?
Go take a break, folks.
I was kicked back, taking it easy.
Only thing I was charged with was having a half pound of weed and a bank robbery. That's all. Oh, I forgot to end our poll from the last one. Sorry, let me go ahead and wrap that up here. I think you've had enough time to vote. Let's see. Guilty, 87%. Not guilty, 12%. That's with all the evidence in, even though we haven't heard all of it. Let's see. A couple of people are asking questions. Did they replace my modem? Yes. If so, does the new modem have any of the restrictions you described on the old modem? All the same restrictions. Jailhouse snitches, while often full of it, are usually candid.
Courtroom. Go ahead, Mr. Perry.
I didn't ask, but we just got incomplete details about what in terms of the felon in possession of a firearm and the possession of marijuana charge that that I was not supposed to go into details on. And because he's gone into it, I believe I'm entitled to ask details about that.
State want to say anything?
Your Honor, this was in response to the question about whether he was going to be charged as an armed offender in the federal charges, in the federal case against him. And he was responding that he had not used a gun in the federal charge against him, in the federal case against him. So there was no possibility of him being an armed offender in the federal. Now, Mr. Thompson apparently he's not aware that, the stuff in Waukesha is off limits, so he made some reference to a gun in his residence. But that's got nothing to do with the federal charges.
He's been sitting right here this entire time.
Well, he did mention a firearm. So if it's connected to the robbery charge, you can get into that.
But it's not connected to the robbery charge, Your Honor, except that it's connected to whether he'd be deemed a federal armed criminal, because if under the federal guidelines, and I don't even know what they are because I don't do federal cases, apparently if you're an armed career criminal, then suddenly you're looking at 30 years to life imprisonment. But remember, at the time that Mr. Thompson testified in 2008, he'd already entered a plea on January 14, 2008 to 2 charges of bank robbery without any armed criminal career offender status.
I understand where you're going, but the problem I got, the genie's out of the box now when he talked about weed and the firearm to the jury.
The weed and the firearm is from Washington County.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And he hadn't even been charged yet. When he was talking with Mark Jensen and when he was on the phone about this stuff, he hadn't been charged with anything in Washington.
I understand, but he just mentioned it to the jury.
Yeah, this is the argument,
so I'll
DMV.
give you
Gets a little bit of leeway.
Bit. We're not going to get into 2 hours of questioning about.
Oh, I hope not. It's part of the federal sentencing guidelines. That was all part of it. So.
Just a little bit. I'll let you go because he mentioned it. So let's bring back the jury.
Did the judge say the genie was in the box? It's Pandora in the box. The genie's in the bottle. But apparently both have been let out in this case. Fed cases have a point system. If he's deemed career, he's over his points. Any new case is essentially life. Okay, so that's what they're getting at. So this is, so Ivan, maybe you're, I think I smell where you're stepping in here. I think that means there was great incentive for him to bargain down, to talk, to squeal, to rat out on somebody, so that he wouldn't hit that threshold. Is that what you're saying, Ivan? Douglas, so they smoke about an ounce a week, so half a pound is nothing. Is that a personal consumption amount? I'm guessing he probably didn't have a card, depending on what state he was in. Require a medical card or something. Making that deal on whose behalf? Sounds like he was facing some charges himself. The Weed and the Firearm, a memoir. How I completely blew my testimony in the Mark Jensen trial. Weed and Firearm. Okay, that makes sense, Ivan. That suddenly this argument and why they're getting into it, it shows how important it is, because it's North American Girl. That's his credibility right there. Myra says, so excited I get to eat Chipotle and watch live trial with RA and crew. Hey, that's the best of both worlds. I'm glad you're having a fantastic lunch. It cracks me up when people mix up their metaphors. Sometimes you get halfway through a metaphor and you mix it, and suddenly it becomes almost Freudian. And this is the wrong case to have that happen in. But it happens. No card needed here, and in many places, in fact, there are more legal states than non. I think at the time this happened, it probably wasn't legal. There were at the time this occurred. I mean, think back 10 years. There were probably only a few states, if any, that had legalized marijuana in any capacity.
The jury.
Ooh, Mark's got a green shirt on today. Is that different? I didn't think he was wearing green before. Maybe it was. Mixed metaphors are hilarious when they're on purpose. Okay, what's your best mixed metaphor? Keeping it PG. Keeping it PG. What's your best mixed metaphor? Go ahead and throw that out in chat.
All right, we're back on the record. Mark D. Jensen, 2002 CF 314. The jury's back in a courtroom. You
Mark
can
smiling.
continue, Mr. Perry.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Right before that break, I'd asked you that you were being considered to be charged as an armed career criminal. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And if so, you would have been facing 30 years to life.
If so, yes.
And you explained that the gun wasn't yours, but the weed was.
Yes.
That's from an offense dated 9 days before you got, my math is bad, 11 days before you got to the Kenosha County Jail, isn't it?
No, actually, when I got arrested on a Friday, they went to my house that Monday and conducted a search, which is when they found the marijuana and the pistol at my home. As I said, the pistol belonged to my girlfriend at the time, and the marijuana was mine. So they charged me with the marijuana and threw out the pistol case.
You told the FBI in that case that you stole that gun from a drug dealer.
Yeah, I told the FBI quite a few things.
Those were lies?
Absolutely.
You lied to protect your family?
Yes.
And you didn't want your fiancée to be charged with any of that?
Well, not just that, but she really had nothing to do with what happened. It was all me.
Now, that case, the disposition of it would have affected your federal sentencing guidelines, correct?
It would have, yes.
That would have drastically increased it.
Yes.
Yes, he knew that.
In that case alone, you were facing 14 years for the felon in possession charge of a firearm.
Yes.
7 years for the marijuana.
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor. There's no evidence that the Washington case has anything to do with this case.
By ruling, and so we're going to continue limited in this area, I said.
All of that was known to you when you wrote to your fiancée, Kim, recognizing Mark Jensen in the jail, learning who he was, that it was time to help yourself. Isn't that true?
To some degree, not totally true. Some of it, because prior to I had those charges when I arrived here, and I had those charges resolved before just in case it even took place. I had already pled to that in January.
Right. I'm talking about September 6, 2007.
Well, like I said, September is the only reason I agreed then is because of what was on the telephone. I couldn't beat that. I mean, you can't deny what's recorded. So I had to tell the truth about that. I was bound to tell the truth on that.
So you'll lie when you can, but not when you can't get away with it?
Objection argumentative.
Sustained.
I think
Known to you on September 8th.
the best
That's
mixed
when you wrote the
metaphor
letter, it's time to help myself.
for this
right?
particular trial
Somewhere around there, yeah, I guess, yeah.
would be
No
that
further questions.
Any further redirect, Mr. Jambly?
I'm not sure if I should do this.
Mr. Thompson, what are you facing right now?
Oh, nothing. I've been out of jail a long time now. Had several businesses and doing quite well.
So
Mark
where
Jensen
were you
marches
supposed
to
to-
his own marches
You're
to his
here
own
today in this
trumpet.
courtroom. What were you planning to do today
that's what
before
I'll
you were told you got to come to court?
Oh, I had school. I'm in school for human services. And missed class today.
You're missing class to be here?
Yes.
And what are you going to school for?
Human services. I'll be a drug counselor.
And
Like a
you said you
how-to
had
or
a number of occupations. Tell us about your employment history over the last 5 years or so.
Once I got released from federal prison in 2010.
Judge, I do object to this being outside the scope.
Well, you attacked his credibility. I think the state can go back
Yep.
into it. So let's
He
go.
opened the door. He can address this.
Once you got out of federal prison in 2010.
Yeah, well, I would say 2014.
2014.
I went back for a revocation. So since 2014, I've been self-employed.
So tell us about the first way you were self-employed when you first got out of prison.
The first business I had was a cleaning service in Madison, Wisconsin. I started cleaning dormitories at UW-Madison.
And when would you do that, and how much did that pay?
$40 an hour.
For cleaning dormitories?
Yeah.
And how long did you do that
Like,
for?
are they hiring?
About a year.
And then what did you do?
I had a transportation company, RCT Express, where I had a Sprinter van delivering loads cross country.
And who drove the van?
I did.
And how long did you do that for?
About 3 years.
And so that was up till about 2018 or so?
Yeah.
And then what did you do?
I had another job. I worked at I had Northwoods Property Management. I had a contract with them to clean cottages and cabins on the weekends for $50 an hour, and I worked at Merrill Iron and Steel in Wausau, and I made $26 an hour there during the week.
Sounds like this guy hustled, and in a good way.
How long did you keep those two jobs?
Until I moved back here in Milwaukee in 2019.
And when you moved back to Milwaukee, what were you doing?
I worked at the Hampton Inn Hotel downtown. I was the head maintenance man down there.
And when did you leave that job, or did you leave that job?
When I started my own cleaning company back up again. Elite Cleaning Services is what I do now, and outside.
Drop your number. Drop your phone number.
So you're doing two things. You're going to school and you're running Elite Cleaning Services. Yes. So tell us what Elite Cleaning Services does.
Power washing, clean apartments for residential move in, move outs for CEOs that come in from out of town and they rent various apartments. And once they leave, I go in and I clean them up.
Now, do you clean it up yourself, or do you have people working for you to clean it up?
I do everything myself.
And how much do you get paid for doing that?
$40 an hour.
So you've got this Elite Cleaning Services that pays $40 an hour, and you're going to school.
Yes.
And how many days a week do you go to school?
3 days a week, full time.
So you're going to school full time?
Yeah.
And you're working full time?
Yeah.
So today all you're getting for testifying is the inconvenience of coming here and missing work and school?
Missing my class, yeah.
Are you telling the jury the truth?
Absolutely.
Were you telling the jury the truth back in 2008?
Yes, when I testified to what was on those phone calls, absolutely.
Now, you did go to before a federal judge and you did get sentenced on those bank robbery charges, right?
Yes.
Now, you were expecting to get, before you provided any testimony in this case, you were expecting, your attorney and you were expecting you were going to get about 5 years?
Yeah.
That's what you were expecting to get?
Yeah, according to the federal sentencing guidelines, I was facing 5 years, yeah.
This is awesome. This guy he sounds awesome. He's obviously got a colorful past. He's got a history. He's got the bank robbery, the weed, some convictions. I missed what the rest was. I think he's been arrested at least, 10 times
I'll
or
show you
something.
two letters, one marked S77 and one marked S78, and I'm going to provide them to you, and then I'm going to ask you questions about them, okay?
Okay.
I clean up after CEOs. I take all the paperwork and I sell it to their competitors. So much for my Hilton honors points. I need to hustle.
Have you read them both?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember ever seeing those letters before?
Yes, my attorney had them. I had a copy of them as well.
I'm excited for this guy.
Back then, I don't have it
he's
down.
He's changed his life. Obviously, he did some hard time, but the guy's hustling, and not in a bad way. He's not like slinging drugs or something on the corner. He's working. He's cleaning. And he's making money.
Now, did your attorney show you these letters before you were sentenced in the federal courts?
Yes.
And the federal judge was the Honorable Wayne Anderson in the
Yes.
Bloomberg Federal Courthouse?
Yes.
So this is the letter that I wrote to attorney. And who wrote the letters that you were reading? Who signed these letters?
Oh, you did.
And so the first letter is to Attorney Green. It reads, Dear Attorney Green, I've been informed that you are the attorney representing David Thompson. I prepared this letter and would appreciate it if you would provide it to the Judge Wayne Anderson prior to Mr. Thompson's sentencing. Thank you. Sincerely, Robert Jamboys. That was the letter that your attorney received?
Yes.
And then enclosed in that letter was this letter. Dear Judge Anderson, it is my understanding that David Thompson will soon be standing before you to be sentenced for his role in 2 bank robberies. I don't know anything about the circumstances surrounding those 2 incidents. However, I do think you should know that David Thompson recently testified in the case of State versus Mark Jensen. During the course of his incarceration in the Kenosha County Jail, Mr. Thompson became acquainted with Mark Jensen, who stood accused of the murder of his wife, Julie Jensen. Mr. Thompson testified in the Jensen case that Mark Jensen...
I do object to the full contents of this letter being read, aside from just this letter detailing that Mr. Jamboys found him cooperative.
Well, Your Honor, they were going into great detail on cross-examination.
I'm all allowed because we've had a lot of questions about supposedly
this is the problem. When you try to get something in, you open the door and you think you're going to win. Well, it opens the door from the other side as well.
It's part of the consideration, so go ahead, Mr. Jamboys.
So I'll start at the beginning of the second paragraph. During the course of his incarceration in the Kenosha County Jail, Mr. Thompson became acquainted with Mark Jensen, who stood accused of the murder of his wife, Julie Jensen. Mr. Thompson testified in the Jensen case that Mark Jensen had solicited him to arrange to have a witness named Ed Klug, quote, sat on, unquote, or kidnapped in order to prevent Mr. Klug from testifying. The state had intercepted and recorded telephone conversations between Mark Jensen and various family members which corroborated Mr. Thompson's testimony. I stress that Mr. Thompson had never actually intended to participate in a kidnapping scheme. Rather, it was intent to induce Mark Jensen to participate in such a scheme
I don't think
so
they
that
should
he
do
could
that.
testify
He's
on
clearly
behalf
taking
of the
pictures
state
of
in
the
this
documents.
matter. I believe that David Thompson testified truthfully in this matter. Furthermore, he was of substantial assistance to the state in the successful investigation and prosecution of this murder case.
Objection, Judge, in terms of what Mr. Jamboys is currently reading. If you could explain it sidebar, I'd be happy to.
We're going to stop here, Mr. Jamboys, from you reading for...
Well, I'll just go to the final sentence. I do hope that you will consider that as a mitigating factor when deciding upon an appropriate sentence for Mr. Thompson. Now, is that the letter that I wrote on your behalf to Judge Anderson?
Yes.
And you were happy to receive that letter?
Absolutely.
And that letter is consistent with representations I made to you, isn't it, in the October 10th, 2007 interview that occurred?
Yes.
And at that interview, do you remember who was present in the room when I interviewed you?
I think it was you, I, and Angie.
Angelina Gabrielle?
Yes.
And you remember Detective Miles being there?
Yes.
I'd request this be marked as, that this interview be marked as, I guess, Exhibit S79.
I'd object to it being received into evidence with the portions that...
You're going to redact it.
Subject to redaction.
We'll wait for that then. Just remind you, it's 79, right, Exhibit 79? All right, 79, we'll wait whether it's going to be received or not.
Would you like to know the impact that that letter had on my sentencing?
There's no question.
You know, that's a good question. That's a good point. Yes. What sentence did you get from the federal judge?
It had no weight. Judge Anderson, had you pulled the federal files, you would see that Judge Anderson said clearly that what happened in Wisconsin he has no jurisdiction over.
So what sentence did you get?
They gave me 47 months.
Pretty consistent with the guidelines.
Pretty consistent with the guidelines, just a little bit under the guidelines.
Well, the guidelines would have been 60 months, right?
Right, yeah.
So maybe 13 months off. The judge didn't completely ignore me.
Yeah, I mean, I went to jail in 2000 and I was home in 2010.
Yeah.
I mean, 2008 and I was home in 2010.
Federal judges aren't the only judges that disregard me, just so you know.
Yes, that's the Rittenhouse photographer that testified.
But the letter
I still
that
don't
I
think
wrote,
you should be taking pictures of
regardless
documents
of
at
what the judge paid any
the
attention to it, the
prosecution
letter
or
I wrote
defense
was
table.
consistent with the promise I made to you.
Yes, it was a good letter, yes. Thank you.
This guy's like, thanks. Didn't do me a spot of good, but thank you.
Now, Mr. Perry had asked you questions about this interview. And
The Winslow Wonder. First name doesn't have to be happen to be Ben, does it? He should be an expert witness. He should just hire out his services to just lighten up court sessions. Ivan says, just a FYI, federal sentences, you do 85% of your sentence. No early parole ever. Then 6 months in a halfway house. The Rittenhouse photographer, look, Sunshine Sunflowers, look behind the prosecution's desk. Give him a minute, but he's sitting back there. You'll recognize him as soon as you see him.
You and I
court,
did ask you
trial.
questions about the conversation you had with Mark Jensen, didn't I?
Yes.
I just asked because I know a Ben Winslow. But
so let's be clear, because you were asked questions on cross about this. Who first raised this issue about getting rid of or sitting on Ed Klug?
He did. Mark Jensen did.
So what was the context in which he raised the issue about getting rid of Ed Klug?
Me? I just tried to tell.
Listen carefully.
Okay.
What was the context in which he raised the issue of getting rid of Ed Klug? What was the conversation? What were you talking about when he raised this issue about getting rid of Ed Klug?
He was worried that because we had been talking and I kept seeing a worried look on his face. I asked him what's the problem. He said, I'm worried about this guy's going to testify against me. And that's when we went into the conversation and came out with what he wanted to do.
He told you the guy's coming to court against me, but he's lying.
Yeah.
And what did you say in response to him telling you that he's coming to court, but he's lying?
I can't say exactly what I said, but it was something to the extent that I might be able to help you with that.
Well, do you recall telling him, I said, well, if he's lying, then why would you want him out of the picture? Then if he's lying, the court might see that he's lying, and that would be that. Do you recall telling him anything like that?
Yeah.
And what did you say after you suggested, well, if he's lying, then why do you want to get him out of the picture?
He never changed his stance on it.
Who was the first person to raise the proposal or suggest getting rid of Ed Klug?
Mr. Jensen.
So you're not the one who initiated that. He is.
He is, yes.
After he was complaining about Ed Klug coming to court and lying against him.
Yes.
I'm going to switch to a different feed here. Just 1 second. Okay, I think we still have sound, but yes, this is the judge that fell asleep. And he had to be roused with an objection. He was like, Your Honor, I had objected. It was just a leading the witness objection, I believe. And so he's like, ask the witness the questions. Come on, where's the audio here? Just a long pause. going to turn on audio 2 just in case. We're listening to 6 right now, but so now both channels are on. Nobody's talking. It's always bad when I change channels and then I don't hear anything, but I think we're good right now. Let's see. Please don't say no further questions. In this feed, it looks like he's wearing more of a pink sweater, as opposed to the other one. Here's the other one. You got orange, pink, orange, pink. So it goes back and forth. But then the orange one as well. Looking at the white of the flag, just see if the white balance is off a little bit. Yeah, it's just a tiny bit off.
Mark Jensen first raised this issue about getting rid of Ed Klug. Was it? I'm not clear on this. Was it your intention at that point to try to get $500 out of him, or was it your intention to try to get him to commit to this proposition so you could use it with your lawyer?
Well, initially I wanted to get the money out of him, but once I found out that everything we talked about had been recorded and it was going to be used against me, my attorney told me that, look, you better just go in there and tell the truth.
Yeah, he's ready for deer hunting. He's got enough. He's over 400 square inches of fluorescent orange. And long delays here. He does have a very reflective skull. Shiny bald head. Yes, Alex is, or not Alex. We're talking about
Defense counsel on his cross-examination had asked you about
Mark.
This question, and I'm directing court counsel's attention.
Alex
to
is in jail
the,
too, I believe.
Transcript for the trial testimony. Was it January 8th?
Turn this up.
January 14th. Question: would it be fair to say you talked to your lawyer about it, right? Answer: yes, I did. Question: and then he said, just keep talking, Mr. Jensen, to Mark Jensen, right? Answer: my lawyer said that? I can't recall he said that. Okay. Question: okay, do you recall page 4, counsel? When you were being interviewed on October 10th, you said, I mentioned it to my lawyer, Mr. Green, and he said, well, just keep talking to him. And if something comes up, just let me know. Okay, that could be true. So then we go to that interview. So on page 4 of that interview, directing court's counsel to page 4, and going to the top, starting midway through the first line. So I told him, I said, man, look here, maybe I can help you, So he said, what? And I was like, I got to go to court, today. I'll talk to you when I get back. So I go to court, and I mentioned it to my lawyer, Mr. Green. And he said, well, just keep talking to him, and if something comes up, just let me know. So I kept talking to him, and finally he agreed he would pay to have the dude held, or if push came to shove, completely take out of the picture. And so I gave him a ballpark. I said, well, $1,000. Now, you remember that portion of the interview?
Yes.
And then later on, though...
There's a song for this. It's called Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap.
I said, well, anything is possible. So at that point, I'm like, man, I need to talk to Mr. Green again. But before that happened, you guys come to see me. And I told you the story when we was meeting over there. And the next thing I know, I got a mailing from my attorney saying to stay off the phone. Everything is being recorded and whatnot. So I said, okay, I'll stay my ass off the phone then. But I don't think you kind of really believed me when I told you the story at first. Do you remember then telling the rest so that...
Yes.
when you're talking to your lawyer, he said, go ahead and keep talking. Once you'd explain to him what the theory was here, that you were going to try to that you were talking to Mark Jensen about this kidnapping plan.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you were going to actually involve yourself in a kidnapping
No,
plan.
we just were talking about it, see how far he was trying to go with it.
But previously you'd sent some sort of a brief correspondence, and
I haven't
Mr.
watched this
Green
yet,
had written you a
Charlie.
letter saying, stay off the phone because they're recording the phone calls.
Right.
Oh.
Now, you weren't present when Mark Jensen then subsequently talked to his family members.
I'm not sure who that was. They were
Objection
zooming out.
outside of the scope of his knowledge just by the nature of his question.
Actually, I do. That's Julie's brother.
Well, were you present at any time
He
when Mark
testified
Jensen
earlier.
talked to any member of his family about this case?
No.
Except you were present when you talked to Kim, correct?
Yes.
And you just heard those phone conversations this morning. So Mark Jensen had gotten on the phone and talked to Kim?
Yes.
And when you were talking to Kim and you got the spelling wrong on Stifle Nicholas, Mark Jensen could be heard in the background?
Yes, he corrected the spelling for me.
And also, when you were giving this address to Kim, the address for Ed Klug, that's the address that Mark Jensen had given you.
Yes.
But you didn't hear any other subsequent phone conversations between Mark Jensen and his family members?
No.
Nothing further?
Want to recross, Mr. Perry?
A few questions.
Go ahead.
If I understand your testimony, for you the motivation was money first?
Yeah, it was all about the money from the whole time. The whole time I was having the conversation with him.
Then after you were being confronted with phone calls, did you decide, well, I better make something of this for your case?
No, when I got confronted with the phone calls, I mean, I couldn't deny what was on what had been recorded, so I just, came forth and told the truth.
And those phone calls that we heard were September 11th and September 12th, 2007, right?
Yeah, I would assume so.
So, on September 8th, which is 3 days before the first of those phone calls, that's when you wrote that it was time to help yourself, isn't it?
I can't recall what day it was, but I know that I wrote that letter, yes.
And it was your testimony earlier today that it was September 8th.
Okay.
In terms of whose plan it was that you just testified to, I'm going to direct attention to page 109 of January 14th, 2008. At the bottom, question, well, your plan that you were talking about was that you were going to keep Mr. Klug in his house until the trial is over. Answer, yeah. Now I go to page 110. Question, that was the plan. Answer, yes. Question, so you were just going to have somebody wait for Mr. Klug by the garage and then take him in the house and wait for the trial to be over? Answer, that's what I told Mark, but no, I wasn't going to have that done. No, I had no way of having that done. Question, and Mark Jensen, you're telling me Mark Jensen thought that was a workable plan? Answer, evidently, he went along with it. He provided me with the information I needed. Remember that testimony?
Yes.
This is a jailhouse snitch. Supposedly,
You just
Mark
explained
Jensen
that you were
wanted him to sit on Mr. Klug.
You pled in 2008?
To my federal charges?
Yes.
Yes.
Out in 2010?
Yes. I did 85% of my time.
And Mr. Jamboys' letter got over a year knocked off of 47 months.
No, it didn't. It didn't get anything knocked off. The judge wouldn't even take it into consideration.
He said instead of 47 months, you had 13 months off of that.
Right, and the fact that I didn't use a gun in the commission of my crimes, he gave me the lower scale of the sentencing guidelines. Because I jumped over the counter and took the money. I never threatened anyone or used a gun or anything.
And
that's why he gave me the low end of sentencing.
And the gun thing in Washington County, that went
That
away.
gun was already at home, so that was Kim's gun. So they gave that to her, and it just completely disappeared. I took charge for the half a pound of marijuana because it was mine.
And you didn't get any additional time in Washington County, did you?
I wasn't facing any additional time in Washington County other than those 2 charges.
It was run concurrent,
Concurrent to what?
the federal sentence.
Oh yeah, it ran concurrent. Yeah, but they gave me, they sentenced me. Yeah, and Washington County's one made the time run concurrent.
That's right.
Yeah.
This was pretty, when you wrote it was time to help yourself, you did that pretty effectively, didn't you?
Well, actually, Mark did.
No further questions.
All right, you're excused. Thank you.
Maybe we're back to the
So now, Your Honor, the state intends to be playing some subsequent phone calls between Mark Jensen and various members of his family, and the defense has stipulated the foundation for these, so we don't need to produce Detective Zielsdorf.
All right, we're going to need a break. I need a break, folks.
Okay. I'm not a camel.
Go back,
So I guess
relax
now we're
for a
gonna
bit. Don't talk about the case.
Another
I'm not a camel.
There we go. Judge needs a break. Let's see. Where was I? I was trying to answer a couple questions. I hope it's okay that I don't care about this case, but I feel the need to stick around, kind of like the toddler who won't go to bed in case he misses something good. Yeah, Heidi, this is the case I'm least interested in. But in Alexander Jackson's case, they've wrapped. Both sides have rested. We've got jury instructions being hammered out. The feed stopped on that one. So
I want to deal with it while we are all fresh. Who has that exhibit?
It should be over there, Your Honor.
The attorneys have a copy of the letter. Can I see it?
I don't have a handy copy. I don't have one.
You said 79. I got 77 and 78. So
Well, the letter, if you're talking about the letter, I think that was, 79 was the interview.
what exhibit did you object? Yeah, you said 79 on the record.
I just objected to the letter. I don't know what number it was.
The letter is 78.
Well, 78 is the letter.
All right.
Yes, but the objection, there were a couple of objections. One was an objection to the admission of 79, which is the transcript of the interview, the recorded interview between David Thompson and myself.
I think that's the wrong exhibit.
Then I misspoke then. My objection is 78. It hasn't been admitted into evidence, so.
78 is what you're objecting.
Mr. Klug was a co-worker of
So
Mr. Jensen.
79's coming in.
Okay.
77's
He's the short,
coming in.
bald guy
We're just dealing with
that
78
testified.
now.
My objection on 78 and my objection to Mr. Jamboy's reading this to the jury talks about the successful prosecution of Mark Jensen.
That's all stricken.
Which shouldn't have come in.
I'll tell them it's up. They're not to
Well,
consider it.
Certainly that one, Your Honor, as I was reading, I was realizing, I shouldn't have mentioned that one sentence. I should have jumped to the end.
There's 2 sentences that are going to be stricken.
Which 2 sentences are they?
I believe David Thompson testified truthfully in this matter. Furthermore, he was substantial assistance to the state in a successful investigation and prosecution of his murder case. Those 2 sentences are out. I'll tell the jury they're stricken or not to consider it.
I'd ask actually that instead of telling them that those 2 lines in particular were stricken, because that just draws more attention to it, is that it be reread with those excised and that they're to consider only that information and not any other information they may have heard about the letter.
And who's going to reread the letter?
I'd ask Mr. Jamboys to read it correctly this time.
Well, I read it correctly last time, but I'd be happy to leave out those 2 sentences, and I'll read it correctly this time with those 2 sentences excised.
All right, that's what we'll tell them, that 78 is going to come in and the letter's going to be reread to the jury. That's all you don't want me to say which sentences are stricken, right?
Right.
Okay. I'll give you back 78
Thank
then,
you, Your
Mr. Jamboys. Here's 77. It's coming in.
So the thief is saying you heard him.
I am asking for the instruction that any
He's
other
like, oh no, I
information
tried to
about the
rob
letter
somebody
not
and they hurt
considered.
me.
What was the instruction?
Oh man.
That any other information they received about the contents of the letter not be considered except for what Mr. Jamboys is going to be reading into
Any
the
other
record.
information should not be considered except for what is being read to the jury by Mr. Jambois, right?
That's right.
All right.
Okay. I think we're going to get a break here. Mr. Peck is there. The other guy's having a seat in the gallery. Mr. Jamboy's like, which ones don't you want me to read? They're all chummy right now, but I don't think they're chums outside of court. Yeah, this is the line. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If somebody breaks in my house to rob me and I have to accidentally smash him, gently with my baseball bat, I'm not going to feel sorry for any injury he sustains. Yes, Mr. Klug was the guy who observed a certain notebook on a desk. Was he the one that flipped through the notebook? I thought that was somebody else. I thought Klug was the one who hung out in the bar and talked to him and then called his wife, drunk dialed his wife 50 times at 4 a.m. or something. I thought that was Mr. Klug. Maybe he did both. It's time for a pickle break. I had dill pickles today. That's what I had on my sandwich, just for the record. Not that anybody asked, but I thought I'd share that with you. Which sentences would you like Mr. Hitchcock not to present? Yes, he's the one who drank coffee and watered down his booze. Right. And his wife said he was drunk. His ex-wife. Sorry, I think they got divorced. Baseball bat's inadequate, locked and loaded here. I have that option. Let's put it that way. Was that officer gifted a front row seat by Weather Watch? Apparently, or he just confiscated it, one of the two. Yeah, Klug was at the conference, the SIA conference, I believe, the 5-day conference that had the late night drinking at the bar. I'd love to cover that trial. Yes, he was both at the office and in the office, unattended. Yeah, okay, so he was both guys. And he worked for Mr. Jensen. I think Mr. Jensen was his boss as well. He was a loser who hung out with him and then called and hung up on his wife a million times. His wife was a gem. She was amazing. Supposedly, the guy drank coffee and watered his drinks down so he'd be less drunk. That's what he told his wife anyway, so she wouldn't be as mad at him for staying up drinking all night. When is the eye drop trial? A little bit. You're talking about Jesse Krachewski. And let me actually check the Discord real quick, because it's coming up soon, like this week. Let's see, where are we at? We're in January. Where's Jesse? We've got jury status for the 26th. So later this week, I think they're seating a jury. That's going to be in Judge Doro's courtroom, which is aired by default through the Wisconsin website. So her trial, that one will be aired, and it might have additional cameras now that she's sort of a famous celebrity. So it might have some additional newsroom there as well. But at least one of the ones, it'll either be on the judge's stream or it will be on the news locally. The eye drop trial, yes, it's Jesse Krachewski, death by eye drops. It's basically a lot of Visine ingested in a drink, and it is fatal. Delphi, I'm not sure we're going to get much information out of, because they're pretty much going to lock that one down as far as media is concerned. But let's see if I can find Delphi. I'm on Discord. If you guys want to search this for yourselves or get more information than what I'm offering, I guess would be a better example. Delphi murders. Let's see, updated dates. Okay. Jury trials are the end of March. The 20th of March is the jury trial for Delphi. Great question, though. Susan, thank you. So many Wisconsin cases. Yes. Will we be watching it? You're talking about the eyedrop trial? We probably won't watch it live because we'll have, I believe we'll have Murdoch going on. And Murdoch's going to have quite a bit of coverage, quite a bit of information. We'll probably cover it after the fact, if possible. On a globe, Richard, I don't get that reference. Holst's Mars from the planets queued up. I haven't seen that. Wisconsin, Idaho, Florida. We've got a couple states that are really contributing a great deal more than their share into the legal system, at least on the entertainment side. Will someone spell the last name? Christie, yes, it's a tough name. First name is Jesse, Jessy, and the last name for the eyedrop trial, Kurczewski, is Kurczewski. I guess it would probably help if I just type it out for you. Give me just 1 second here. Need to find a place I can copy and paste here. There we go. Okay, somebody's going to beat me to it, but I'm still going to do it. I'm going to get it in here. Hang on. Here we go. No, it didn't copy. Hold tight. Somebody's going to beat me. Kurczewski. Got it. Did I beat everybody? That's the eyedrop case last name. Somebody beat me to it probably like pages ago, but anyway, that's the last name. First name is Jesse, Jessy. YouTube at Classical Track. Let me see what I can find. Let's see, which one am I not using? That one. And you're talking, is it a soundtrack or is it like a sound bite? It's like a 7-minute long. Yeah, that one I probably would get a copyright strike for playing. I can see there's some symphonies playing at the Kennedy Center, things like that. I'd probably get a bad mark on YouTube for playing that one. Might listen to it offline, though. It's noted for tritone usage. This is what it sounds like when I watch. But the spelling, Lil Miss is right. Kurczewski. I forgot to listen for how long the break is. Are we just doing like a 10-minute break or 5 more minutes? During a meal, how soon is as soon as you can eat that pickle? Natalie, you can actually do it while you're getting the food. Say if you were in school and you were in line and they were handing out the food, as soon as it's on someone else's tray, that's an appropriate time. You can actually sort of pre-ask and see if someone would get a pickle for you so that you can then eat their pickle. But at least in my book, there's really not a too soon to ask. So just go ahead, ask away. It's not a taboo. So 15, I think we've got a few minutes. Okay, let's see what we have. I want to just see updates. I have not been following the, let's see, Murdoch. Let's see who we have. Any more updates? Yeah, lots of the jurors in the Murdoch trial are very familiar with the family. They know about the trial. They've seen the case on TV. They've read about it in papers or on the internet. I wonder if they're going to try for a change of venue because of this. There's a cheese factory close by that has jalapeno pickles. So good. Jalapeno pickles at a cheese factory. I'm curious about the cheese. I also like cheese. As a matter of fact, my wife and I, Mrs. R.A., we used to, earlier in our marriage, not that long ago, actually, we used to, the highlight of the week would be when we get to go shopping together, just because of the busy schedule and everything that was happening. We'd go out and go shopping together, and it was just food grocery shopping, but it was time to be together. It was like our little date night, and one of the highlights of going shopping together was that we would, why did that just come there? Why? Okay. One of the highlights was that we would find a cheese. We'd get a new flavor of cheese, something we hadn't tried before. And sometimes it was a hit, and sometimes it was a miss. But my personal favorite is I don't remember the name of the cheese, but it's more one of the harder style cheeses. But it had little I call them flavor crystals inside, little crunchy, almost like sugar grains, but it was just flavor crystals. It was fantastic. Why is my feed so much delayed? This is crazy. Are you guys? Oh, I dragged it back. I'm like, I was watching my replay back, and it was like doing things that I was not doing. I was confused, but I was way not current. In Charleston, South Carolina, there's a restaurant that has the most delicious refrigerator pickles. It's called the Tattooed Moose. I'm going to have to make a trip. If they have the best refrigerator pickles, they should come to Tampa, Florida, because I've never heard of the Murdoch trial. Yeah. You could then sit on the jury, Myra, and we could have an inside scoop. You could call us. No, just kidding. We wouldn't ask you to do that if you were on the jury. It's Wisconsin. There's a cheese factory every 20 miles, miscellaneous goods, candies, taffy, etc. When or if I can get into town tomorrow, I'm going to take some pictures to send to the burner for everyone. The snow is pretty right now. Courtney, remind me where you are again. What part of the country are you in? You've told me before, but I have the memory of a goldfish. So just remind me, and then I'll remember. My go-to cheese is dangerously sharp. My kids are not as big a fan of sharp cheese. Even my wife's not as big a fan of sharp, like cheddar. I can do a pretty sharp cheese, but dangerously sharp might be too much for me. I don't want it to like cut my tongue, with flavor. Not sure I want to see Murdoch. For some reason, it gives me flashbacks to the old man I kept wanting to die, who has the documentary used in his trial. Didn't watch that either. Well, was he? Little Miss, yeah, it's going to be an interesting trial. You've got a lawyer, a very rich, or at least appeared to be a very rich lawyer, very powerful person, who has all these crazy events that have happened. There are so many deaths in and around his immediate circle that things start to be like, you start to just ask the question, was that really an accident? Type thing. And then there's money all over the place, and it's all other people's money, and it's going into the wrong pockets and being shuffled around, and shell games, and there's a lot of that at play as well. Myra says, I wish. I've always wanted to sit on the jury. I've never been able to. Myra, I was just thinking this yesterday. I have never in my life received even a jury summons to sit there and hope that my number gets called, to be questioned. I've never even got that far. Though I racked my brain. There's one time I was summoned to testify in court, and it was in a traffic accident case. But I got there and I'm like, I could not remember for the life of me what was going on. It's like, they brought me in. I remember, swearing under oath, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is what happened, but I was just driving along in the afternoon, and this guy was, and they're like, did he signal this way or that way type thing? And it's like, I think he signaled. I was probably an awful witness. I really was. I don't even know the outcome of the case. I'm like, I hope whatever I said didn't make the wrong person have something happen. But I was probably useless. I was just a teenager too. Will there be a quiz on our locations on Friday? Adam, I better start taking notes. Let's see. Courtney, you said New Hampshire. That's where it is. Okay. And you do have a little bit of snow up there, right? Husband and I also purchased different cheeses and had them with wine. Yeah, the cheese thing is fun. You can go a lot of the sort of the nicer grocery stores now. They'll have a pretty nice cheese section. I know if you've ever, for those who are in like the western states, their Harmon's has a fantastic cheese section, and some of the Smiths have a fantastic cheese section. And I guess Smith's is Kroger's out, further east. But you go to these stores and you can go and get just like a little slice. You're not like buying the whole wheel. Okay. So if it turns out to be something you don't like, it's not like you invested a lot of money in this and now you have to eat it type thing. You just get a little bit and you get to take it and enjoy it. The sharper, the better. Sharp cheddar with red wine. Dangerously sharp is the best. I'm outnumbered here, I think. 7 says, recovery addict. I know nothing about the Murdoch stuff. How is he so powerful? 7, his family is wealthy. There's like generations of attorneys in his family. He's the property that, let me see if I can show you this. Just 1 second. Give me a quick check. I was on the website for the company that has listed the property and is selling it. Here we go. Let me pull this up on this screen. Give me 5 seconds to do some research here because it's just on the interwebs. Nope, that's the wrong one. The B button is not working very well on my keyboard right now. It's giving me fits. There we go. The land is listed by a company called Crosby Land Company. I just want to pull it up on my screen just so I can find it. What's it called? Moselle Farm. Okay, here we go. Okay, I've got it here on my screen. Let me pull it up on the screen so you can see it. I think it's right here. Okay, so this is I think I told you 7 million. It's only 4 million. So, I lied. Please forgive me. Let me turn my screen off too. So this is looking at their website. This is the guy who's listing the property that I believe the murders happened on. This is in Colleton. Is it Colleton? I don't know if it's Colleton or Colleton County, South Carolina. And take a look at this. Let's see if we can zoom in here. Come on, there we go. Look at some of this here. There's the house. It's nestled way back in there. Just beautiful. Pillars. Pretty good size. Nice size porch. It's got some acreage there in that's farmed as well as harvestable timber. Got some water. Just really well secluded. Couple outbuildings. Excellent hunting property. It's got a shooting range on there. It's got some, I believe it's a stocked pond. I think this might be the shooting range, or no, that's the barn. I'm trying to see where the shooting range is. There's some moving water, some still water. Okay, so we're just flipping through here. This is the property. that's for sale. It's size-wise, check this out, 1,772 acres. It's enormous. It's huge. And nothing in the description does it say anything like, this is a murder house or 3 people died here in the last 5 years. You know, none of that is in here at all. But anyway, that was, I thought that was interesting. I forgot why I'm looking at that now. Oh yeah, you were asking about how powerful he was. Yes, the family is very well known. There's a lot of money. That family owns a lot of land, so you know it's like a lot of people say if you were in Utah, there would be families like the Huntsmans that own a lot of lands. You know, they might have some political figures in their family. You've got families like that just everyone's heard of, and that's the case here. So you go down to South Carolina and try to seat a jury, and everybody's heard of them. You love all cheese, sharp, hard, smoked, soft, tangy, goopy, stinky. I can't do blue, AJ. I can't do blue cheese. Especially, even the crumbled. No, I just can't do it. Lived in Florida my whole life. This is my second winter up here. Still not used to the cold and probably never will, but completely enjoying the snow views. Real life Christmas cards. That is cool. Yeah, anytime you're able to step outside and you feel like you're on a Hallmark movie, it's just amazing. You were the one they regretted calling in to testify. Seriously, in that case, I was just a teenager. I remember seeing the accident, right? Vaguely. And I remember they had me fill out a statement, and I asked the officer, I'm like, my handwriting sucks. Okay, at that time it was pretty bad. It has gotten a little better, but I'm like, can I just tell you what to write? And you write it. And he's like, nope, you need to write it. I'm like, oh, okay. And that's why I'm like, they'd like cleaned up the accident, all the glasses cleaned up, the cars were towed, and I'm still out there with a notepad. I'm just like, then the car went. It was just like it was so awful. I wish I could have typed it. I would be done in a minute. It would be beautiful. It would be perfect. But they did not give me my statement to read before I testified. I just went in there and it was like 2 months later too. But I had no idea I was supposed to remember. I received a jury duty letter like 2 years ago. Was able to get out of it because they put my old address, which was also in a different county. AJ's like, right now, I'm going to go buy cheese, wine, and smoked salmon, you addicts. I had salmon last week. A good friend invited us over. We had salmon. He goes up to Alaska every year with his family and catches a bunch and flies a bunch of it back down for his freezer. And so we got to eat some. It wasn't fresh caught salmon, but it was some wild caught salmon. Let's put it that way. Okay. Everyone's talking about cheese now. That's not cheese. AJ, do you like Velveeta? This is the true test. Do you like Velveeta? Are we back? We're back in court. We've already been missing stuff. Hang on just 1 second. Where are we at? 6-6.
Oh, God. But that would be we got time to figure it out and have some fun with it. Mm-hmm. That's the big question is where do we want to go and what do we want it to be? And where to from here? Draw a line, put all this behind us, and move on. But I want our life back.
I have no idea what we're hearing. This is Mark and
all of it, every part of it,
So stopping that part at 9 minutes and 13 seconds.
So they're playing these phone calls.
Moving to in the same call.
There's the photographer right there between the two prosecutors with his head down. He just looked over to the right and straight ahead. He heard us talking. Now he's looking down again. Sorry, I did just completely miss the coming back from break thing.
So this is starting up again at 11 minutes and 50 seconds into the call.
Let's see, money-wise, how is everything?
Fine, I guess. I just have to remember to pay the bills.
Bills?
Oh, shit. Forgot to pay one of my credit cards.
Oh, really?
Got stocked with the late fee and the interest charge. I was like, son of a bitch.
Okay.
Because it just happened, just at the right time where it was just the last thing on my mind. And I don't get paper statements anymore from anything.
Gotcha.
So I have to remember to go out there. And I went out there the day the next statement was cutting off.
Right.
Made the payment. Well, that didn't cut it. So.
Ivan, tell me the store name so I can give you a shout out.
It's taken care of, but no.
Okay.
Other than that, we're fine. That's why I have so many things set up on auto pay. Because I just don't need the hassle.
Okay. Let's see. There was something. Okay. Well, that's good. There was something I think I want to have my folks take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And might have you give them some money, just a little bit, and I'll explain that to you.
Okay.
Okay? Not right now.
Okay.
Okay? We'll see if I'll figure it out. Okay. Other than that, I don't know anything more about that at this point, so.
Does it have to do with something in there?
What's that?
Does it have to do with something in there?
Oh, no. No. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
All
Yeah,
right.
no.
Okay. And that's all.
How much?
Oh. It'd be like 500.
Okay.
Maybe twice, and that would be it. And I'm not sure if I want to do that or not, but,
Okay.
and I know I'm not giving you any answer at all.
No, well, but I understand.
Okay.
I think this is Kelly and Mark.
It'd probably be better to have this part of the conversation now and the other part of it later or something like that.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. But
all right.
Definitely want to, I don't know. We'll see.
You have 1 minute left.
Gonna get cut off again.
All right.
Okay, well, don't worry about that.
I think this is Mark talking to Kelly over the Jailhouse phone.
Because I want to give you a heads up or something like that with that. Okay. Love you. Everything else good?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Everything's fine. Let's see, what else is going on here?
All right, stopping that at 15:42, or sorry, 14:57. That was the time on that. And so now moving to a recording from 9 at 21:05. Once again, this is Mark Jensen, call to Kelly.
Jailhouse calls. That's what we're listening to. So $500. I think that's in reference to the witness we just heard from, sitting on Mr. Klug, paying $500, double that, $1,000, and we're going to talk about it later or split up the conversation.
And this will start at 37 seconds.
Hey.
Hey there.
It's almost 9. What are you doing?
Oh, I know. I just wanted to get back to you on that. I got $20 left. So, I spent a lot on pads and pens and stuff like that last week.
Okay.
Okay. And I got a bunch of stuff for stock.
I can't afford $100 a week, pal. So you need to budget a little better.
I understand.
Okay.
Okay. I'm working on it.
All right.
It's just, to get a bar of soap and a couple soap, shampoo, stuff like that. Generally, usually it's about $50. I spent more than that, though, this last time. It was like 80 of that 100. And then they grabbed some stuff for that medical stuff, too. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So.
All right.
Sorry. I understand. But, yeah, stuff's not real cheap.
No, it's fine. It's just, was put, what?
I know. I realize that. It gets over the
$800 in phone calls.
Holy cow.
The cost of being here is amazing, and it sucks.
It's $100 every 2 weeks, and now we're going to $100 every week.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I understand.
Well, now you want another $1,000 for something I don't know anything about, but your parents do, and we're all talking on the same phone, so I'm not really sure about that one, but
Right.
okay.
Right.
And they're certainly never going to tell me the truth, so.
Right. Well, I don't even know about that one, sweetie. I just don't want you to, I just don't want to get you.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
That's okay. I'm not even sure that, want to do that or anything, or I'm going to do it or something like that. Yeah.
All right.
I just,
You're
that's
just
all.
trying to keep people in line, or what?
What's that?
You're just trying to keep people in line?
Here?
Yeah?
No.
Okay.
No, not for that. So, okay.
Okay.
That's not it, so.
This is very evasive.
You trying to keep your girlfriend happy?
No. No.
Because I'll give her a truck.
Yeah, thanks. No, nothing like that.
It's almost $30,000. I was wrong about it being as upside down as I thought it was.
Really?
Yeah, because I put on there that it was a Hemi and not a diesel. And a Hemi's only worth 19. The diesel, we're within a couple $grand of what it's worth.
Okay.
But,
Yeah,
I mean,
diesel-
we're still losing money on it, so.
Yeah, diesel's worth a lot more.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So I meant to tell you that a long time ago, but obviously your truck is not at the top of my priority list.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, I hate having you, telling you to do something like that, or, no explanation. I just, not sure to do it without talking about it, that's all.
I know.
So,
But if your parents know about it, you talked about it to somebody.
but I haven't, so.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right.
Not yet.
Okay.
So, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Love you. And, ultimately I'm probably not going to, so.
All right.
I just wanted to check with you to see if, that's it. I probably won't never talk to you about it again, and if I wanted to do something, I'll just have them ask you for it,
All right.
Okay. Love you.
Yeah, it sounds like he's starting to hire
At
hitman.
3 minutes and 57 seconds. And the next recording is 9/12/07 at 18:01.
Him and Sarah Boone. It's all
Call with
paper
Mark
and
Jensen
pens.
and his parents.
Female is Kelly. That's the mistress / second wife.
So this starts at 2 minutes and 9 seconds into the call.
Okay. Hey, question for you. Do you still have Kim's number?
Kim.
Yeah, remember that Dave who you helped that night? His wife's name was Kim? You talked to her on the phone?
Say that again? Who, Kim?
Kim, yeah. Oh, you got me back on the speakerphone?
Yeah, you're back on the speaker.
Who's Kim?
You there?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not connecting. What?
He does not want to be on speakerphone.
Who did we talk to?
I can hardly hear.
Okay. You there?
So that section ended at 2 minutes and 53
he did not
seconds.
want to be on
and
speakerphone.
the next part will commence at 4 minutes and 43 seconds.
Hey, do me a favor, sir. You have the phone with Mom. Okay.
Okay.
Hey there. Yeah, let me give you this phone number here.
Oh, okay, let me get a pen.
Okay. Just hang on to it.
Got more stuff around and no pen.
Gotcha.
Okay.
262?
Okay.
247? 2437.
2437.
Yeah.
262-247-2437.
Right.
Okay, what is that number?
Oh, that was you, the lady you talked to the other night.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, when you get a chance, just give her a call and touch bases.
Okay.
And she'll, that's all.
All right.
Other than that, what's it like out there?
So stopping that section at 5 minutes and 42 seconds, and then resuming in the same call at 11 minutes and 31 seconds in.
I think his parents are still alive.
Sounds good.
And I'm willing to do anything at all.
Okay.
Period.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Sounds good. Well, Kim, let's see, Dave offered to help. You got Kim's number. Give her a shot when you get a chance. Touch bases with her. Maybe she can explain to you. And if you got any questions, I'll give you a call back later. And
okay.
If you got any questions on it, okay?
Okay.
And other than that, it's supposed to get hot again tomorrow? It's supposed to get hot and then cold again.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, it'd be nice to have some fresh air. And then we get any fresh air. It was like 80 degrees in here all day long. Everyone was just sweating.
Oh, I know. I can imagine. That's awful.
They do everything they can to make you. And yeah, hook up a file in the tax file tomorrow. That'll help. And that's all I can think of right now.
Okay. I'll take care of everything as I'm supposed to.
Okay.
And
all right, and stopping that at 12 minutes and 23 seconds.
Yeah, the mom's like,
and
just
the
give
next
me the name.
call is
We'll make it happen.
September 12th, 2007 at 18:53. Also Mark Jensen to his parents.
This is not a good look for him. I mean, what could be so important that you have to speak in cryptic codes like this and not want to involve your wife, your second wife, and talking about money?
And this commences at 45 seconds into the call.
Yeah. Oh, good God. The blood's coming down. Oh.
well, I called Kim.
Okay.
She said she was going to call her, talk to her husband tonight.
Okay. Sounds good. And, was she able to explain any of that to you?
Nope, she didn't say a word.
Okay. Sounds good. And, well, that's probably the best bet is talk to, I don't know. Otherwise I can, no, that's fine. Yeah, have her talk to Dave, and then, that works.
Okay.
Okay, as long as you guys are in touch. And,
I'll keep her number.
that sounds good. And, yeah, let's go.
This is all collaborating evidence about that he was trying to hire a hitman.
Okay. Other than that, I don't know a thing except from the last time we talked, except that I do want you to know that I will do whatever research, whatever I need to do.
Okay.
Period.
Sounds good. I don't know if
Yeah, we're going to call it research
Stopping that
now.
at 1:52, and then in the same call, we'll be resuming again at 6 minutes and 18 seconds.
I'm not sure if they have enough on her to say she's guilty. The mom seems to be willing to go along with whatever it is he's talking about. It's Mr. Klug.
Doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, even books of your own. Hell, you guys might get $1 million book deal out of this thing.
Yeah, probably could.
Exactly. So, I mean, talking about being...
Yeah, I'll go for it. I will go for it.
That's what I mean. We got to do whatever we possibly can to make sure we're on the winning side of this whole thing, and probably knows it them. So, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
No, and Kim, she's just, sweetheart. So, yeah, she'll talk to Dave and figure it out. But, go from there. But talk to her. Other than that, I can talk to you guys Sunday when I see you about that.
Okay.
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 And, what's the day? I'll talk to you beforehand. If you got any questions, just, I got to remember to be quite careful on the phone about what gets said.
Okay.
That's all.
I try to be, but sometimes I just want to be.
I know.
I do what I say what I want to say.
Yeah, I try to pass it on, so, you know, I think, well, yeah, at some point you just got to hook up with Kim.
Yeah.
And that'll be fine. And
Okay.
then, other than that,
She will call tonight.
oh, she's going to call tonight?
Yeah, after she talks to her husband.
Okay. I'm not even sure if he's, okay, no, it's fine. Never talk to him, and we'll see.
Okay.
It's just a question of, you know, getting everyone on the same page and explanations of, I'm not sure.
This does not
you
sound
know.
good.
Okay.
Need to be probably the best way is, you know, when I see you guys or something.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well, just time to figure that one out. But, yeah, just wanted you guys to be able to talk, that's all.
Okay.
Okay.
I did.
Sounds good, and, yeah.
He may have asked about the
We'll go
kids.
from there, so.
They might have
All right.
not played that
Tomorrow,
part.
but that, you know, that could be fun.
They're only playing excerpts
Yeah.
of the
That's
call.
interesting. This is something that Baca would like.
Oh, okay. Then he will talk to her.
Oh, it doesn't have to. I mean, it could be, you guys talked and, you know,
This
everything's
is
fine. So.
a Baco kind of thought process?
No, it could be. Yeah. Could be kind of fun, so I don't know. What you gonna do? Sometimes it's like, you know, two little kids when they're, well, it's like David used to do to Doug. You know, when Doug was misbehaving, David would just go grab him, pick him up, and go sit on him for a bit.
Oh, there it is. Boom.
So,
That didn't sit well with Doug.
what's that?
Doug, that did not sit well with Doug.
No.
Doug does what Doug wants to do.
Yeah, he doesn't like getting fed.
Doug
Right.
knows what he needs to do, and he is going there, and he is not going to be deterred.
Right. Exactly.
He's just the coolest boy.
Yeah. Well, he's a good little guy. So, but yeah, just Baco, you know, the thought processes and everything, so.
Oh, well, you know.
Yep. What you gonna do?
Deal with it, because sometimes that thought process is really cool.
Right, exactly. Yep, sometimes, you know, you gotta get, yeah. Sometimes a 12-year-old has the best answers, yeah. What you gonna do? Yeah, Doug, and he's riding his bike all over the place. Church, you name it, everywhere, you know. Newfound freedom until the clocks start changing time. So, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure, you know, what Kim,
In the oven?
as long as you guys are talking, that's cool. I'm not sure what she'll be able to explain to you or something like that, but, you know, if not,
Okay.
I can fill in those blanks for you. Later,
All right.
see you. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Waiting to get the disc.
Okay.
All right, so pausing that at
I'm not sure what the Baco reference
10:09.
is either. It
Then
might
this
be
next
something
call
that
will
they
be
both
September
understood.
13th, 2007 at 10:21. Another call with Mark Jensen and his parents.
The dad didn't want to be any part of this, apparently.
This
Here.
starts at 11 minutes and 42 seconds.
Here, talk to your mother.
What do you mean talk to your mother? I mean, you asked me to call Kim last night, which I did.
Okay.
And she didn't call back.
Okay.
But there's somebody else named Wayne Palmer?
Oh, no, Kel talked to Wayne Palmer.
Okay.
Which is for the bond. He's got like 30 apartment buildings in town.
Okay.
He owns outright. And he's had for a long time and whatnot. So he's with Schaefer Electric.
Okay.
The construction business. So he called to find out how I was doing weeks ago, and Kel talked to him, and we were, you know, he said he wanted to come and see me, or, you know, but he's a big supporter. And so Kel called him and said, hey, you know, what can we do? You know, could you help? And he said, well, sure, I'll do everything I can to help, you know, just let me talk to Mark. And so I'm going to call him tonight.
Okay.
So, like getting things going with the bond thing, so.
Right.
Okay. Okay, no, if you haven't gotten the call back on Kim, that's fine. And other than that, Well, that'll be fine.
Everything will be fine. Everything's fine for him. Okay.
Yeah, just hang on to her number.
What?
Just hang on to that number.
Okay. I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll put it over by here by the,
Okay.
by this phone, so I've got it.
Sounds good. I just have to have you hook up with Kel on, before, yeah, this is the Port Washington projects and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
You know, part of that, so, at some point just gotta have you hook up with her and take care of that headache for me, so.
Okay. All right.
And other than that, that's all I know with that one.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so pausing that at 13:28.
How many of you guys think
and
this
now
is still
moving
innocent,
on to
just
the
business
last
talk?
call. This is from 9/14/07 at 18:24. A call between Mark Jensen and his parents.
These puzzle pieces fit together too well, I think. Just manually dragging the playhead around in Windows Media Player to trying to get it to work. There's an easier way to do this, but
Okay, this begins at 14 minutes and 21 seconds.
Mom, can you still got that Kim's number?
Yeah.
Okay, give her a call and have her put money in the phone.
Give her a call and have you, and
Put money in the phone.
you want to have 1 minute left.
She'll know.
Give me the instruction again.
Just give her a call and say I have her put money on the phone.
Oh, have her put money on the phone.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, she'll know what that is.
Okay.
And other than that, yeah, I don't know. You know, talk to Kel. She's got that stuff for you. I'll talk to her, but you know, we gotta see if we can get this part done. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
Okay, love you.
See you on Sunday.
Okay, that's right. Yep, see you Sunday.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All right, stopping that at 15:12. And so that's it for this exhibit, which is State's Exhibit 75, and the state will move that into evidence.
75 is received.
I think it was a couple months after his wife died that he married Kelly.
Judge, I'm going to be now entering Exhibit 72 and playing 2 calls from it. The same. First one is dated September 8th, at 11:56 in the morning, and it's between Mark Jensen and his dad.
2007?
September 8th, 2007. Could you turn my computer on?
It was a very cheap hitman. He just ordered the hit. Yes.
Thank you.
Use Winamp player. They normally use VLC, but this is a little harder to see.
And this is starting at, I think I already said 11:56.
I'm going to play with the audio and try to get it at a good level for you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's not gonna, you know, whatever individual realtors have going on, you know, that, you know, for RE/MAX, 75% more.
Well, the actual sales are off maybe 20%.
Okay.
But I think you had a lot of people who wanted to close prior to school starting, and they.
Yeah, that could be. That's true. That's
and
true.
so the week after the week of when school started, there was a slowdown in closing.
Yeah.
But it should be the next week in the paper will be better, I would think.
Okay. Hey, question here. Let me give you a phone number.
Okay.
It's 247.
Yeah.
2437.
They want to buy a lot?
No, this guy, you just make a phone call when you get a chance. It's a local. But there's a guy in here who got picked up back on the 23rd when he was on vacation about a month ago. And he just got back to the jail here and can't even get a hold of his family, but apparently, you know, his family has never had a chance to talk to him in weeks. So
Why not?
They won't let him make a phone call. He's a Fed guy for some reason. But yeah, he's stuck in here, and he got a hold of his sister a week ago, I guess. But if you get the chance.
Well, what am I supposed to do with his number?
Oh, just nothing actually. Okay.
I'm supposed to call it?
Yeah. No, you don't need to. I just wanted to get rid of that headache.
247-2437?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if you want to do somebody a good turn, I guess just give them a call and say put some money on the phone so that you can actually call. So.
Put some money on the phone?
Yeah. I guess they have to have money on his phone so that he can call and get a hold of his wife and kids. They were on vacation. They were literally, they use this place to bounce Fed guys through, federal prisoners.
Yeah.
So they grabbed this guy on vacation.
Yeah.
He was coming out of a casino up by, I guess by Watersmead. Up there. They were up there on vacation. But, same.
I don't know what.
But,
Wait for it. I don't know what somebody who looks like when they're about to have a heart attack.
In every county jail all the way down the lakeshore.
That prosecutor does look.
I guess he's heading towards Chicago.
Relaxed a bit.
But this is why they got a casino there too.
No, this is the game the Feds play. You got state prisoners, and then.
How much trouble am I going to get in by calling this number?
None. Actually, I probably wouldn't even bother, really. Because if he sees me on the phone saying he has me a number.
Hey, if his family knows where he is, they're going to know from calling the police department what to do.
Right, exactly.
I don't see me getting involved in this thing and doing anything that they can't do for themselves.
You're right. You're right. No, see, but what happens is you get hit up here all the time.
Oh, I'll bet.
Yeah, so that's all. I'll just...
Say you passed it on, but don't say who to whom.
That's exactly what I did.
Okay.
So, okay.
Sorry.
No, other than that.
I mean, you don't know what badasses you're running into in there.
Oh, no kidding. And then you don't want to, you're not showing up.
Yeah, you think you're doing something right, and the next thing is you're accomplice to the son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. And your number shows up in the caller ID and everything else.
Yeah, and now you got a lot of explaining to do.
Right. Oh, no shit.
No, I think you got enough trouble without looking for more.
Right.
This is good advice.
All I'm trying to do is not buy it, so. You know where I'm coming from.
His wife wants to call him. She knows where he is.
Right. Exactly. Oh, it was Kel. One of the guys in here saw me dialing the whole number and started calling her.
Why?
She was getting phone calls and stuff from the jail.
Why?
Beats me. Because people won't want, they don't have anybody to call. There's a lot of people who just roll through here. So they call her and ask her to do something or some bullshit. She was actually getting mail from these guys. It's like, so you learn real quickly. You got to hide your phone numbers and your addresses and stuff like that. Because people
isn't that something?
Take advantage of it. Yeah, it's bizarre. So you live and learn, right? So it's fine. And what else? Don't know nothing else. Next Friday's a hearing date.
Next Friday?
Yeah. Oh.
That stopped at 12:27.
I think the bailiff's falling asleep.
This next call is same day, September 8th, 2007, at 2:03 p.m., Mark Jensen to his parents.
So he's getting closer and closer to the hearing date, and he's getting more and more desperate about having somebody call that number. Let's see what happens here.
collect calls from an inmate from the Kenosha County pretrial facility. To accept charges, press 0. To obtain customer service information, this call is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hey, hey there. What's up? Oh, I got myself a headache here. How come? Oh, just that call. What? That phone call? What phone call? That number I gave you before? Yeah. He wants to do a three-way. So I'm going to have a fight on my hands here, or we let this guy make a three-way phone call. How do you do that? I think you put that flash button.
He's desperate to get this call made.
The flash button. Hit flash, and you should have an area code, or you should hear a dial tone. And then let me give you the number again. Okay, hold on. This is BS, but I haven't done a three-way call. Yeah. You hit flash, and then you should get a dial tone, and then you hit dial this other number, and then you hit flash again, and it should connect the two. Okay, 1 second. Okay.
This is like, I don't know.
What?
This is like pre-popular cell phone time, right?
I don't see a flash button. Oh, you know the same one you'd hit to probably answer. Or is there an asterisk on it? You know how to do a three-way call?
No.
You mean the talk button? Yeah, I think it's a talk button. Or there should say one. Well, it should be one on there that says flash. Or try. Here, you talk to your mother. Okay.
He's like, I'm done.
Hello?
Hey there.
Hey.
Hey, you have like a. Hang on 1 second here.
Okay.
Buckle.
Talk. Gonna try to make a three-way call. Hit talk.
Okay.
Let me write down this number. I gave it to Baco earlier.
Okay.
But 262.
Okay, 262.
247.
247.
2437.
2437.
Yep.
Okay.
So hit flash. Dial. You'll get a dial tone.
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of the jail phones now will detect you trying to do this and would disconnect the call.
Talk again.
Okay.
And it should connect the two.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Hang on.
And after you do that, then I'll talk to you guys.
Okay.
I'll get you on the phone and see if
Okay.
this works.
Okay. Flash.
Okay, still got me.
It's not working.
Nothing.
Still got me.
Yeah, okay. I just couldn't get the other one.
Okay. Huh, it's not. Did you get a dial tone when you hit flash?
No. Let me try it one more time.
He's desperate. He's desperate to get this call made.
Let's try this one more time. Hang on.
Okay.
You there?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
even
no, it
sometimes
won't
call
work.
waiting would cut off a call, depending on the jail system, the phone system.
But that's when you hit the talk button, right?
Right.
Is there another flash button around there or something that says flash somewhere on that cordless?
It says flash, but I hit flash and I don't get a dial tone.
Okay, when you hit flash, you don't get a dial tone.
Right.
Okay. Is there a talk button on there? Does it say talk?
Yeah, I've got a talk button.
Okay, try the talk button.
Okay. No. I hit talk and I don't get a dial tone either.
Okay, you just don't get any kind of a dial tone.
Right.
It's like, do you know anybody who has three-way calling? Because they don't.
Okay. Yeah, you got a cell phone?
Yeah.
Okay. Try dialing that number on that other cell phone. Is it the cordless phone you're using? Yeah.
Yeah. I can try it on a cell phone.
He's probably
What
not
am I
allowed to
trying to
call
get?
that number. I don't know.
Oh, just call this. This guy here's trying to get a hold of his wife. And so just trying to...
Oh, okay. Is it a local number?
Okay. What's that?
Is it a local number?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 262.
Do I have to do a dial 262?
Yeah, 262-247-2437, and then put like the cell phone on speaker and just flip them around.
Put what?
Take the two phones and flip them around so the headset's by the voicemail piece.
Okay.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See if you can get him on the phone. This is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So this plan should work, assuming the number's good.
What am I supposed to do if she answers?
Just know where Dave wants to talk to her.
Okay.
So you just hold the phones together and I'll put him on.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Hello? Just 1 minute, please. Dave wants to talk with you? Okay. Okay, I'm putting her on.
All right. Hello? Hello? Did you flip the phones around? Hello? 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 Hello?
You can't figure out this tech.
Hello?
This is funny.
Yeah, this is my mom. Oh, this is one of them, yeah. She's having a hard time here. Yeah, she does. Hello? Hello?
She probably hasn't flipped the phones around. She's probably put them speaker to speaker, headphone to headphone.
Hello?
Yeah? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Do you have her on the other phone?
Hello? Hello? Okay. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. She's there, but he is not.
Okay. No, he's here.
Okay.
He's here. He wants to talk to her.
Can't he call her?
She's got to put money on the phone so he can.
Okay. 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 I'm sorry. I'm
Here, tell you what, Mom.
a mother of someone who called from there. He wants to talk with you, but you evidently have to put money in for him to talk to you. Okay, sir. Bye-bye. Okay.
Okay. What's that?
Okay.
She's got
So
that.
then you know you need to put the money in, correct?
Hey, Mom?
Oh, okay.
Hey, Mom?
Sure. Bye-bye.
Mom, hang on. Don't let her
Okay, she's going to put the money in.
go. Okay, she's still there?
No.
Okay.
Call her back.
I think she
Tell her to
wasn't
put
quite sure that
$1,000 in.
you know, what she had to do, or maybe she just had run out and didn't know that.
Okay. Oh, she ran out and then...
That's what it sounds like. But she said she was going to put the money in, so. That's all I can do. Right?
Yeah. Call her back real quick. He wants to ask her one question real quick. And I'll let you... I'm just going to let you relay it, okay?
Okay.
So try that one more time. We'll be done with this.
Okay. One second.
Okay.
This is so bad.
Two six two 247 2437.
Okay. There you go. Tell you what, I'm just going to hand the phone over to this guy. His name is Dave.
Okay.
You got his wife on the phone, so...
Okay, I'm just dialing right now.
Okay. But then you can just relay. If you can't get the phones working right, just, you know, if you got a quick question, you can try it that way. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. There you go.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, Dave?
Hey, how you doing, Ms. Jensen? Sorry to
I'm doing that just
trouble
fine.
like this. I'm just trying to get a little bit of information out of my wife here. That's all. That's all.
Okay. No, I talked with her. She might be on the phone trying to put more money in.
Is she on the line now?
Okay. I got voicemail on it right now. They might be on the phone or something.
Could you try her cell phone for me, please?
Pardon?
Could you dial her cell phone for me,
so
please?
bad.
I sure can. Hang on one second. Okay.
The mom's just trying to help.
414.
Okay.
531 5048.
5048.
48. Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to just relay the question to her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So what's the question?
Is she on there?
No, she's not. It's dialing.
Okay.
Do you want to... Okay. No, I got voicemail on her cell phone.
On her cell phone?
Do you want me to relay a message to her?
Just ask her. Did she take care of what she was supposed to do this week? And
Okay, let me write that down.
To write this down.
I mean, I had talked with her and told her to put money in the account. So, okay, did she do what she was supposed to do this week?
Did she go to the police station, do what she was supposed to do this week?
I'm sorry. Did she do what
she was supposed to do at the police station this week?
Okay.
And how long will it be before the phone is right? That's question number 2. And see if you can find out what time our court date is set for Monday. And I really would appreciate it. I truly thank you.
Okay.
And Mark will get back with you later for the answers from me.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Ms. Jensen.
Okay.
Here's Mark.
All right. Bye-bye.
What number were you going to move in now?
Yeah.
That was
that is
again,
not
track 3 from 203.
This is not a good
ending,
look for the jury to see this. Hear
At
this.
minute mark 12:49. That was the entire phone.
I think
call.
that was our witness from
This
earlier. That was our
judge
orange
is
exhibit sweater dude.
72.
All right, it is received.
I will have to, and I can do this tomorrow, submit a paper transcript of that I'll be moving in as well.
All right. Okay, are we back then to the state's witness?
Yes, we are.
All right, who are you going to call?
The state is calling David Ellis, number 16.
Hey, we got a new witness, a real live witness. Puffer jacket lady has an objection. I'm not sure what she's doing. Must be cold in the courtroom. Dad knew a scam. Mom didn't care. Mom would bury a gun if asked her to. Yeah, she'll do anything. Period. Anything that to get her son out.
All right, if you could remain standing, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony in this matter to be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thank you. Get as close as you can to the microphone. Spell your first and last name for the reporter.
I wish they wouldn't say
David,
close as you can.
D-A-V-I-D.
You can't be too close to a microphone.
E-L-L-I-S.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. McNeil.
Mr. Ellis, in about April of 1996, did you have contact with Mark Jensen and Julie Jensen?
Yes.
And why did you meet with Mark Jensen and Julie Jensen at that time?
I was contacted by, I believe, Mrs. Jensen in reference to a situation where excuse me, there was an issue where someone had been placing
man,
pornographic photos
We're going here
around
again.
their home, around their neighborhood, and on Mr. Jensen's car at work. And we had a discussion about...
He looks like a PI, private investigator guy.
Setting up a surveillance to try to determine who was doing so.
So what was your employment?
At that time, I owned a private investigative agency.
And before opening or before you worked full-time with that private investigation agency, did you work as a police officer?
Yes.
And where did you work?
I started in 1977 in Silver Lake, Wisconsin. In 1978, I went to Kenosha City Police Department, and I left there in 1986.
Hey,
and
Riley,
then when you left,
how are you doing
did
today?
you pursue this private investigation business?
Yes, I actually started it in 1984. In 1986, I decided to leave the police department and run the agency full-time.
And so did you have some contacts with officers who worked for the Pleasant Prairie Police Department?
Yes.
And would those officers sometimes refer people to you?
Yes.
In what context would they refer people to you?
Occasionally, they'd have a case where they felt that it was better suited to have a private investigator work it rather than the police department. Maybe it wasn't a criminal matter. It could have been a civil issue. But that happened a couple of times over the years.
I think we're not going to get in.
The police department may have referred them to me. I had a close relationship with Paul Ratsberg, Mark Hunter, and Ron Cosman, all of the Pleasant Prairie Police Department.
And so when you met with the Jensens, where did this meeting happen?
At the Jensen home.
And during this meeting, did they inform you of the problem that they wanted you to investigate?
Yes.
Okay, so can you just give us a summary of that?
Brief summary. Like
there was
Haynes version.
Again, as I mentioned, someone was placing these pornographic pictures around the home and around Mr. Jensen's vehicle, and we had a discussion at their home as to what was happening, when it was occurring. We talked about potentially who might have been doing it.
Jojo, we think it's
as a result of that
Mark.
discussion, we decided to set up a surveillance on a Friday afternoon.
I'm trying to find something to flip to.
Now, did they tell you that they believed that this was arising out of an affair that Julie Jensen had had?
Yes.
And so what did you suggest or what did you decide to do to further investigate this?
I conducted a surveillance on a Friday afternoon of Mr. Jensen's vehicle. Nothing occurred during that time. I believe it was roughly from 1 in the afternoon till maybe 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Monday, I contacted the Pleasant Prairie Police Department. I had been given information that they had some photographs in evidence, and I had met with them and requested to look at the photographs to see what the nature of them was, so I knew more so what I was dealing with.
And so did you actually go to the Pleasant Prairie Police Department?
Yes.
And did you view some of the photos from this complaint by the Jensens that was in evidence there?
Yes.
Can you describe for us what those photos from the Pleasant Prairie
Seriously?
evidence look like?
You had to go there? Okay.
There were about a dozen.
Okay. I just wanted to break in just a moment and have a word from our sponsor, which is you. Thank you so much for being here. It's awesome. Why? Why do they have to do this? Oh my goodness. We're gonna give him just a minute to finish describing some stuff because Ivan, somebody gifted you. It might have been Tish that got you. I forget who gifted you, but you won. you've got some amazing people who are giving out gifts. Let's see. Let's see.
Pornographic in nature. I can only specifically remember.
Yeah, that's all there was. That's all he's going to remember. So, we're going to go ahead and just edit that part out. It got spicy. Why is it so spicy? Right.
Copy paper, yeah.
Okay.
And you said they were all
switch back and
pornographic,
forth.
but there was 2 that you recall what the subject matter was. Can you tell us what that was?
Seriously. I gave them time. I gave them time to finish the part that, they don't need to cover because everybody's already seen and heard 20 times over in this trial. Oh my goodness, it is spicy. I think DMB, this does call for a spicy soundbite. And I might steal one for those of you that follow Chadwick playing Call of Duty. I believe he's a Facebook streamer. Might also be on YouTube. I'm not sure. He has a "Why is it so spicy" soundbite. I think I'm going to steal it because we need that for times when trial suddenly goes from interesting to super spicy really fast. Oh man, the bailiff woke up suddenly.
I don't know the address. It was 5600 block of Green
Ivan,
Bay
to get to
Road.
the front row, just type
And I
seat
positioned
with an
myself
exclamation point in front of it.
A little bit to the south and on the west side of the street,
Sunshine
there's a
Sunflowers
trucking
did.
company. And I positioned my vehicle in that parking lot so that I could observe.
There you go.
Mr. Jensen's
Welcome.
vehicle.
Welcome to the front row, Ivan.
And was this because he had
Now I can see you
complaints
clearly.
about these images being left on his vehicle at his workplace?
Yes.
And then obviously in the time you were watching, nothing happened?
Nothing, no.
And Mark Jensen was aware that you were surveilling his vehicle at that time, correct?
Yes.
And Julie Jensen was also aware?
Yes.
So then when you actually went to the Pleasant Prairie Police Department and you looked at these photos, what did you decide to do next?
I called Julie Jensen and spoke to her. After I viewed the pictures, I was convinced, or I felt that the photos were not of Julie. So I wanted to discuss that with her, as well as
I think this is the
findings
one
from the surveillance, which was negative.
Now, had Julie Jensen expressed concern or fear that some of these photos were of her?
Why is it spicy?
And so
Why is it spicy?
you were going to tell her in this call that you saw them and you believe they were not her.
Correct.
And did you have that discussion with her in this call?
For your trouble, lightning
and
reflex
what was her
screen swap.
response during that discussion?
Thank you, canned laughter. Appreciate that.
She thought that the pictures could be her and was kind of leaning towards the fact that they were of her.
Now, in these 2 discussions that you had with Julie Jensen, how would you describe her in terms of her demeanor or how she presented herself?
She was very nice. She was kind of meek, and my reaction, or one of my thoughts, was that when we had the discussion about the photographs and whether it was her or not, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but she seemed a little naive in the sense that
Yep.
I don't know, it's hard to describe. She just, as many points that I pointed out to her that it was my belief that it was not her in the pictures, she wasn't really open to hearing that. It was...
Okay, I think I found...
She sort of
I
had
think
the
I found the
idea
spicy
that it was
soundbite.
her, and,
Let's give it.
and what I had to say about it really had
That's
no
it.
bearing
Is that the
on
one you
what
want?
she thought.
Now, was it your intention to continue this investigation?
Yes.
And so what happened, though, during your phone conversation that you've described?
Julie told me that they wanted to cancel the surveillance.
And so it was just one time and then it was canceled?
Yes.
I think it was Mark that was putting out
And
the
did
pictures.
she say to you at all why it was being canceled?
No, she didn't tell me why. She just said that I believe she said they had decided to stop the surveillance.
I think she never looked at them.
Now,
She
did you
just
discuss with
was
her
aware of them.
Any ideas about you continuing the surveillance?
Yes.
And what did you discuss with her?
Well, I had a suspicion that the person that was behind this was Mr. Jensen. And I suggested to her that we tell Mark that we were canceling the surveillance, but we would continue the surveillance, because I thought if it was in fact happening, that there was a good possibility that I would determine that it was her husband that was behind it.
And were you open with Mrs. Jensen about your reasoning here?
Yes.
And so how did she respond to that?
She was a little kind of wishy-washy about it. She said, well, because I had specifically asked her if she entertained the thought that her husband was behind it. And she reluctantly said, well, yes, I've thought that, but I really don't want to go down that road and think that he would do that.
So you made that offer, but she declined it.
Yes.
Denise, the idea was that he was tormenting her because she had an affair, and so he was
I've
kept
shown you
bringing
what's
this
been
up.
marked as States Exhibit 76. Do you recognize what that is?
Yes.
What is it?
It's my invoice to the Jensens
really-
for the
I almost switched
6
cameras.
hours of work that I performed for them.
And when did you generate this invoice?
That's dated May 1st, 1996.
And was this bill paid by the Jensens?
Yes.
And was that the end of your interaction with them about this issue?
Yes.
Now, at some point after December of 1998, were you contacted by Detective Sergeant Ratzberg of the Pleasant Prairie Police Department?
Yes.
And is that when you learned of Julie Jensen's death?
Yes.
And did he ask you for what you had in terms of your file for when you did this investigation?
Yes.
And really all you had was the invoice?
Yes, I really had nothing other than the initial information that I had written down when I met with the Jensens.
Yeah, Micah, give us a little, when
and
we get to a
copy of
break,
my
I'll
invoice.
explain possible motives here.
I have no further questions.
Who's
Thank you.
doing the cross?
Attorney Krause.
Go ahead.
Mr. Ellis, you met with the Jensens in their home,
Yes.
and they had asked you to conduct some surveillance at Mr. Jensen's work,
Yes.
because that's where Mr. Jensen had found photos on his vehicle.
That's what I was told, yes.
And you explained to them there was no guarantee that you would catch the person who was leaving the photos.
I don't recall telling him there was no guarantee. I mean,
The person would have had to leave the photos while you were watching.
yes,
And if you weren't there watching, then you wouldn't have been able to see it.
correct.
And you were the one conducting the surveillance.
Yes.
You didn't have anyone with you.
No.
You were alone.
Yes.
So if you had gone away from the parking lot for whatever reason and somebody had left something, you wouldn't have been able to see it
That didn't occur.
because you conducted surveillance for 4 hours.
Right. The entire time. I never left once I got there until 5 o'clock, I believe, when we had predetermined that we would stop.
ISP
And I
Fund and
understand
Sarah
that.
Boone
If you
Letter
had
Fund.
conducted
Smiley
further
face.
surveillance,
Smiley
you would have
face.
had to have been
Smiley
there
face.
at the time someone left the photos
Thank
in
you,
order to
TW.
catch them.
Yes.
If
Formerly
you weren't there,
TW.
you wouldn't have seen it.
Of course.
Appreciate that.
You also spent some time reviewing the photos at the Pleasant Prairie Police Department.
Yes.
And you said there were about a dozen photos?
Yes.
And you remember 2 photos?
Correct.
And it's based upon your memory of those 2 photos that you had told Miss Jensen that you didn't believe it was her.
Correct.
And I think what you said is that she believed it was her, and there was nothing you could say that would convince her otherwise.
Yes.
What you said had no bearing on what she thought.
Correct.
So she's
and it was
crazy.
after that conversation with her that you were told that they had decided to cancel the additional surveillance.
Correct.
The time that you spent total in this case was, I think, 6 hours?
She might be hearing my
And
candle.
that was 2 hours reviewing the photos and meeting with the Jensens,
Correct.
and 4 hours with surveillance on the vehicle that Friday afternoon.
Yes.
And the total bill was $1,200.
No, the bill was $180.
I'm sorry, that's correct. Your total, it was, thank you. 4 hours of surveillance was $120, and then 2 additional hours was, the total was $180.
Right. I billed at a rate of $30 an hour.
Thank you. So if they had asked you to conduct surveillance for 1 week, 8 hours a day, it would have been $1,200.
Sorry.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay. I used a calculator, so I think that's right. And that was in 1996.
Yes.
And the Jensens understood how much it was going to cost for you to do this surveillance work.
I would assume.
They knew your hourly
here's,
rate.
Here's my
Yes.
candle.
And they were fine with that when they brought you on to do this work.
Yes.
And after that afternoon and phone call with Julie, they decided not to go any further.
Correct.
It makes little popping sounds. I'm not sure if that's what you're hearing. It would be weird to pick it up that far away. But
I want to talk a little bit about the photos that you reviewed at the Pleasant Prairie Police Department.
it smells delicious.
Was there an officer or a detective with you when you looked at the photos?
There were 2 officers. I don't remember who they were.
And did you talk to them about whether they had gotten any prints from the photographs?
No.
Did you ask them if they attempted to get any prints from the photographs?
No.
Is that something that law enforcement will do if they recover evidence and they think they can get prints?
Possibly.
You also talked to Julie Jensen about why law enforcement wasn't looking into the phone calls.
I don't recall that.
Hey,
Do you remember
Patricia, if
talking
you
to
hear
her
how many
about
juries have been,
getting
jurors
the
have been
phone
selected, let me
company
know. We're trying to keep an eye on
cooperation
that.
to get phone records from Perry Tarica?
I don't recall having any discussion about phone calls.
Did you talk to Julie Jensen about whether the police had taken fingerprints or whether they should have?
No.
You said that what you did talk to her about, though, was that she suspected the photos were of her,
Yes.
and she had looked at the photos.
I would assume she had seen them.
And you disagreed with her, and you told her that when you talked to her on the phone.
Yes.
She told you that she believed it was her based upon the subject matter in the photos.
She believed that the female in the photo could have been her.
Might have to switch here.
You asked her in general if it could be her based on the subject matter in the photos, and she told you yes.
Correct.
And she told you she hadn't taken photos like that with her husband.
I don't recall that.
You guys, I'm safe with fire.
The Jensens
it's
retained
not like I
you
have
together
like a
when you
blowtorch
came
or
to their
something
home.
sitting on my desk, ready
Yes.
ready to reignite
And
the
Mr.
candle.
Jensen and
There's a
Ms. Jensen agreed to pay your fee.
Yes.
And when you submitted the bill, they did pay your fee.
Yes.
It was only after the conversation that you had with Ms. Jensen and not Mr. Jensen that she canceled the surveillance.
Yes.
You didn't talk to Mr. Jensen after that.
No.
Nothing further. Thank you, sir.
Any redirect?
So just to clarify, you said that you assumed that Julie Jensen had seen the photos,
Yes.
but you don't know that for sure.
No, I don't.
I don't think he sleeps
and
at all.
you don't know if she's the person who actually recovered the
He
photos
just has that
or if
that
Mark
blank
Jensen
look.
recovered them.
No, I have no idea. I just became aware that some of the photos were in the hands of the Pleasant Prairie Police Department. How they got there, who found them, I have no idea.
And so what you do know is that she was afraid she was in the photos.
Excuse me?
She was afraid that she was in the photos.
She was very concerned, yes.
I have no further questions.
I whistle at the candle to blow it out.
When you met with them about the photos, where they were recovered and who they were recovered by, you understood that it was kind of sporadic. They weren't all left at the same place at the same time.
No, I had no idea when they were left. I didn't know if it happened once, 100 times. I don't know. I have no idea.
You didn't get that information from them.
No, I didn't.
And when you talked to Ms. Jensen about who was in the photos, you asked her if it could be her based on the photos and the subject matter, and she told you it could be.
Yes.
Nothing further. Thank you, sir.
All right, you're excused. Thank you.
Move States Exhibit 76. And then, Judge, we have one more, we think, quick witness.
One more quick witness. 76 is received.
Gretchen Rosenke, and I think on your list she's number 63, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go back at, well, we've got a little pause. Possible motive on this. We know that Mark was not happy in his marriage. We've heard that their interactions were more just business-like, and they weren't really, either of them, I guess, they had grown apart somewhat. He had developed an interest in one of the women at work, and years before she had had an affair with, I forget who the guy was. I'm not sure where he was from, but supposedly it was a one-day affair, just a fling. So that happens. He wants doesn't want to get a divorce because that means he loses half, right? Everything gets divided. So he wants to figure out a way to be done with this marriage without having to have to separate, lose half of everything they own.
Yeah, if you remain standing, raise your right hand. I'll swear
So that's the
you
motive
swear
that the
the
state's
testimony is meant to be
leaned
the
into.
truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Get as close as you can to the microphone. Spell your first and last name.
My name is Gretchen Rosenke. Gretchen is Gretchen. Rosenke is Rosenke.
Go ahead, Mr. Jamboys.
Good afternoon, Ms. Rosenke. In 2007 and 2008, by whom
welcome,
were you
Micah.
employed?
The Public Defender's Office
And in what capacity?
as an assistant attorney,
You were an attorney or an assistant state public defender?
an assistant state public defender, yes.
So you weren't an assistant to an attorney, you were an attorney.
Right, correct, as an attorney, yes.
And as of 2007 and 2008, how long had you been with the Public Defender's Office?
I want to say about a year and a half or maybe 2 years at most.
Now, during that course of time, did you come to represent a person named Aaron Dillard?
I did.
And do you recall receiving a letter from Aaron Dillard at some point?
Yes, I do.
And what did he ask you to do in that letter?
Well, a couple of things. He wanted me to come and talk to him because
We haven't
he
heard
had
any
gotten
evidence
some
that he had the
information
affair first. We've heard
regarding,
only that she did.
the Mark
That's
Jensen case.
as far as evidence goes.
But he also had wanted me to reach out to the assistant district attorney that I was working with to let them know.
I believe they are
he might
public
have some
defenders.
information.
And did you end up reaching out to the state in this matter?
I did.
Do you remember who you talked to?
Unfortunately, I don't know.
Do you recall talking to me at some point?
Yes, that I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you talked to another assistant DA first, and then you ended up talking to me?
Yes, it might have been, at the time, Attorney Gabrielle.
Jenny, are you talking about Discord, how you roll up?
And when you called to talk to me, what did you tell me?
I I believe I told you something to the effect that my client had indicated that he had had conversations with Mark Jensen, and based on those, he had some information regarding Jensen's case.
And what was your impression of my reaction to the fact that Mr. Dillard had wanted to talk to me?
As I recall, you were a little bit skeptical about that.
Maybe Toxic, Toxic, could you help Jenny with her rolling up question on
What
Discord?
happened next?
I mean, I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while, but I'm sure I met with Aaron just to get a very clear understanding of what it is, what kind of information it was that he had.
Do you recall me asking you for an example of what Aaron Dillard had said to you?
Yes,
And did you read a portion of the letter he had sent to you?
I did.
And what was my response immediately after hearing that portion of the letter?
I believe you wanted to set up an interview with Mr. Dillard.
At some point thereafter, did we have an interview?
We did.
And who was present for the interview, if you can recall?
Okay, well, it would have been you, of course, me, Mr. Dillard, and I believe one other assistant DA from Kenosha County. I'm not sure who.
CATW, pickles, not politics.
So was
Good to
there
have you
one
here.
interview or more than
Thank
one
you for
interview?
your generous
There were
super
two
chat.
interviews, I believe.
Okay, where did the first interview take place?
I think it took place at the Kenosha County Jail, but, out of the main population, like in a separate room.
And where did the second interview take place?
I don't remember.
Now, you were present for both of these interviews.
Yes, I was.
And what was the purpose of these interviews?
Well, Aaron had received some information because he had been talking to Mark Jensen. They had kind of struck up, we'll say, a relationship of sorts in the jail. They were just, hanging out. And according to Aaron, Mark had...
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
For the truth of the matter asserted, Your Honor, I'm asking about the circumstances surrounding this interview.
Well, then ask that question.
So, well, tell me this. Did either Ms. Gabrielle or myself ever supply any information to Aaron Dillard?
No.
We were asking Aaron Dillard what happened.
Correct, yes.
Now, before these interviews occurred, did you talk to Aaron Dillard about this?
Yes,
No,
I did.
I think the
And
judge
did you
can
give
sleep
any
as long as it
advice as
doesn't
to what
cause
he
major
should say or
problems.
do?
Not to what he should, just in terms, just be truthful. I mean, whatever information, it should be truthful, but otherwise, no.
Lots of discussion going on. Mic's off. Can't hear. Maureen, the Alexander Jackson trial is done for the day. Murdoch trial is selecting jurors. This was pretty much the only one we've been following at all that was still going on, so we just jumped in for this for the afternoon. We're trying to stick with it as long as it doesn't get too spicy. This is a new witness. I'm not sure what they're trying to get out of her. She was an attorney that had some contact with the prosecution for something. I don't know why. I wasn't paying close attention. If defense is ready to pounce, they obviously don't want whatever she's about to say to come in.
Have you read through the letter, ma'am?
Got a little bit more to go. It's kind of a long one.
You don't need to read the whole letter. What I want you to know is, from what you've seen of the letter, can you identify that letter?
Yes, I can.
What is that?
That is a letter that Aaron Dillard sent to me.
And when Aaron Dillard sent you that letter, where was he located?
I believe he was in custody.
And when you got that letter, what did you do with it when you first received the letter?
I don't exactly remember. I mean, I read it, obviously, and then I believe I reached out to an assistant DA in Kenosha County.
And then you ultimately ended up speaking with me.
Yes.
Did you get consent from Mr. Dillard to provide me a copy of that letter?
I did.
And you provided me a copy of the letter?
I did.
Now, during the time during either one of these interviews, did either then Assistant District Attorney Angelina Gabrielle or myself, did either one of us ever provide any information to Aaron Dillard?
Objection asked and answered.
Go ahead and answer it one more time.
No, you did not.
And who was providing the factual information during the course of this interview?
It was Mr. Dillard.
Did anybody else provide any factual information to Mr. Dillard during the course of this interview?
No.
So this is the attorney that...
no further questions of
Who's
this
doing
witness.
across?
So, you know what I
Go
think
ahead,
would be
Mr.
funny is if Mark Jensen managed to get his mom and
What
wife
information
and
did you
everything to
review
pay
in advance
the
of your
snitch
testimony today?
to get the $1,000 on his card, his jail card.
I did review
and
a
then they not
copy
do
of the
anything.
transcript from the last hearing, of just my testimony, nothing else.
Now, the letter that's in front of you, it's still in front of you, right?
Correct, yes.
That's State's Exhibit 69. That wasn't sent directly to you, was it, from Mr. Dillard?
I'm not sure. I was his attorney. He did send it to me.
It was faxed from his wife to you, correct?
Oh, okay. I think so, yes.
Mr. Dillard was in prison at the time, correct?
Yes.
Do you remember what prison?
No, I don't.
That's chilly. Stay
And
warm,
it's your
Sharon.
understanding that this letter was mailed to his wife, correct?
Yes.
And then from his wife, it was faxed to you.
Yes.
Did you say that you, after receiving this letter, went and met and discussed this with Mr. Dillard?
I think I would have at some point.
Did you travel to whatever prison he was in to meet with him?
I honestly don't remember.
She was a public defender. She probably had 1 million cases, and this one didn't stand out, most likely.
You represented Mr. Dillard at that time on the pending reconfinement matter?
Yes.
On that case, he was facing 4 years, 6 months?
Yes.
That was the recommendation from the agent, correct?
I believe the agent was recommending the max on all of the cases that he was revoked on.
Did you represent him on the theft by contractor and home improvement fraud case?
Yes.
The modem is here, and it's working. But its days are numbered. I've signed up for
And did
fiber
you also
internet.
represent him on his pending obstructing charge?
Yes.
No further questions.
Can you redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you're excused. Thank you.
That was easy.
Next witness, Your Honor, was the Kenosha County Medical Examiner in 2005 to 2008, and her testimony is expected to take a lot longer than 15 minutes.
I think it's a good time to go home, folks. Remember, don't talk about the case. See you tomorrow. Have a good evening. I'm not a camel.
There you go. Judge has called it for the day, which means we get to have a break as well. What questions did I not answer during the day that we have? Fiber is where it's at. Yes, I had it in my last home before I moved out here, and I'm way out in the boonies. I'm in a little tiny town, and I love it. It's beautiful. It's it's not quiet because we're on the main road, but it's a great little town I like living in. But it's slow to get internet, and we've only had.
I think I'll be able to get anyone, depending on what happens with Mary Mainland, if this is like halfway through the afternoon. I mean, I guess I could play a video, but
we're going to do something. We're not just going to sit here. You told me a few days ago we got to get this case done.
And I agree, but we didn't. But they gave us a list of 130 people, and we've actually had people change their plane tickets.
We're going to do something.
That's fine. I'm just letting the court know that it might be a video in the afternoon because we might not have a witness.
We
here.
can break the Judge Milosauskas rule.
Okay. I just wanted the court to know.
If it's a video,
right,
we're not going to be here. Time to go home. See y'all tomorrow. See you, North American Girl. I've had my doubts since I hate bread and butter, and only garlic. But yes, very delicious indeed. They're good. They're good stuff. Does anyone think the jurors don't talk about the case when they leave? Whole things thrown out. So I hope they don't. For the case of justice, I think they are done. I think they're all done. Let's see. Yeah, everybody's leaving. I'm going to watch just for a second. They said they're going to hold the jurors, right? They're not going to bring anybody else in. Spicy. Why is it so spicy? Let's see, we got this one.
Spicy.
Yeah, it's too. There's laughter in the background. I don't think I can use that spicy one. Oops. Debbie, hi. Good to have you. Is it still having problems? Closing arguments tomorrow. I'm excited for that. Yes, in the Alexander Jackson. I think we start with the jury instructions, and they go to closing arguments. I don't see much improvement with this new modem. What do you see from your end? KQD, I've got a higher download speed and a higher upload speed. But now it's not working at all. I mean, it says it is, but man. Matthew Harris, I need some legal help involving ISPs. This is frustrating. Is this any better? Can you hear me now? Test 1, 2. Are we back? All clear? Okay, so we did great till the very end, and then suddenly it just dropped off a cliff. Okay, we're back. I'm in the boonies. We've got a couple months. We have to figure out how to get through this. Because we've got fiber internet being built out, but it's not here yet. So we'll get there.
There's a lawsuit.
Pretty sure this is breach of contract, Deceptive Trade Practices Act, negligence of a utility provider. Let's throw the book at him, really, Matthew. I'll give him a call again tonight and complain. This is just frustrating beyond all get out. In the meantime, that's not him either. One more time. There we go. Yeah, sound effect fail. Thank you all for being here, guys. I apologize for the morning and this evening. This is no good. You guys have a wonderful day. Please hug the people you love. Smile at somebody, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we try to live stream again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We've got closing arguments in the Alexander Jackson trial, and hopefully we'll be there for him. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you.